Futures trying to get back into positive territory here, coming off back-to-back solid performances to end last week. Friday saw the Dow up more than 450 points. We saw the S&P about 2.3% to the upside at the end of the day. It was the NASDAQ, though. What a day, almost 4% in positive territory when all things were said and done for its biggest single day since November of 2020. Overall, the S&P still about 16% off its all-time highs. The NASDAQ 27% off its all-time highs. All the lofty valuations coming back to earth with the interest rates going up. We'll get into the heart of retail earnings this week. We'll also get retail sales data this week. Home Depot's coming. We get Walmart. We get Target. So still lots of interesting earnings to come this week. Investors also keeping their eye on that 10-year as well. Back to the upside again this morning. Should be an interesting one. Frank Caberna back with us this morning from the small exchange to talk about the U.S. dollar and some of the interest rates that are moving around still. It's Monday, May 16th, 2022. TraderTV.live starts now. Yeah, there we go. Almost back to positive on the day after starting the session pretty negative overall. We're making a move in the right direction. Little change really for the S&P, the Dow, and the NASDAQ. Good to start. TSX a little change here. Futures anyways in Toronto about flat. Same story for crude oil, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. That is pretty much the quietest board we've seen in a couple of weeks at least, after huge moves in the pre-market for most of those over the past month or so. Welcome to a brand new week. Good morning, guys. It is Monday, going to be an interesting one here. As I said, we get into some of the retail names that are going to report this week. We haven't talked really about retail in a while, but we'll get retail sales. We'll get some of the bigger retail names as well.
Yes, good morning. We absolutely do. Lowe's and Macy's are in there as well, so that should be at least pretty interesting. But the most interesting thing I noticed in that beginning is, once again, Brendan has a fresh new haircut, because that's how it always goes. So fresh, so clean. It's a Monday. Why not, man? Let's start it off. I obviously did not. Like, you can kind of see that's pretty obvious there. But, yeah, I mean, it turns out that, you know, we had that rally to end last week, and you're starting off today trying to fight for green territory. I think it's a big week. I'm looking at a lot of things that have overhead resistance. I'm looking at the VIX trying to make some lows here. Obviously, when a big R word gets out there, then you care what the retailers are going to have to say. So some big ones that are coming this week. I tend to think Walmart's going to do okay. And then, of course, there were a few squeeze names last week that are going to come back in play today, one of which, Carvana. Wow, I'm kicking myself because I went to the well for GameStop 2 days in a row, and it should have been Carvana 2 days in a row. We'll get into that one in just a bit. However, it wasn't so good for our Leafs. They played well, man.
They did, yeah.
They fought.
I mean, you can always have excuses, but it's like, it's not. We didn't play a Dallas Stars, or we didn't play like a Los Angeles Kings or anything. And I'm glad that the two other Canadian teams, at least, they're facing each other. So one will at least go to the semis: Edmonton versus Calgary. But yeah, congratulations to Tampa Bay. The good thing about it was, at least, you know, both teams acknowledged that, you know, they were each pretty equal in their abilities, and it was a good, you know, you lose in 7 games, sucks, you know, by 1 goal. But thank you so much, guys. Everyone already 18 retweets on today's, and we didn't even ask for a retweet today. So thank you so much for supporting today's Sticky Note. Veru is also on today's Sticky Note. SoFi is on today's Sticky Note. So no, Fahad did not make today's Sticky Note, although 2 of his core holdings, Veru.
Core? Yeah, if you only hold 2, never mind.
Core holdings, Veru and SoFi. But anyways, no, look, it's going to be a good one, man. I mean, I'm jacked up about every week. I got this frog in my throat here. I don't know what's going on. You know what the problem is like, this is the thing. I drive into work, and like, I don't call my wife until I'm like 5 minutes away. But I haven't spoken the whole time. You know, and then when I pick up the phone and she's like, hello, I'm like, hello. And all of a sudden my voice is like, because like I haven't said anything. Yo, what's up, Rob? There's Rob behind us. How's it going, Rob?
There's a solution for that.
What's that?
On the car ride in.
Just start singing and randomly.
Well, I was about to say dropping bars, but you can sing if you want to.
Dropping bars. Yeah, good enough. Yeah, we'll start doing that. I tend to listen to Bloomberg radio and things like that, so there's my secret. Well, try to get rid of some stuff like that, try to understand a little more in depth like Frank Caberna does. He knows a lot about that stuff, the FX market, and we're going to talk to him about that really soon. And Neil and I will handle all the equity side, and we're going to be bringing you all the news. Thank you for joining us. If it's your first time, shout out to Bears Bulls Media there in the chat as well, our new moderator. So we're really happy for that. Shout out to Ms. V wearing the green. It should be a great day. Apple's on my mind. Neo's on my mind. SoFi's on my mind. Lots of stuff happening today. Light volumes here in the pre-market, but it's a Monday, and it's going to be a spicy week.
Yeah, volume a little bit on the light side to start things off this morning. Frank was in Hawaii last week, so we'll ask him about that as well. I know it's rough. Before we go any further, let's bring in Miss V. Good morning.
Good morning, traders. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend and ready for a productive week. Please like this video and let's get it started, Brendan.
Yep, let's get it started, guys. Lots to get through here this morning as far as headlines are concerned. Moving stocks and moving the market overall, a little bit on the M&A side to talk about. You might have noticed that Spirit Airlines is up significantly here in the pre-market, doing all kinds of volume as well. So remember that whole JetBlue attempt to buy the company? So they're now going to do it the hostile route at a near 77% premium, as you see. But Save, it's worth noting, I think it's $30 in cash I saw, but I'll double check on that. But Save, one of the biggest gainers if anyone's looking at a screener in the pre-market here.
Yeah, it is 30 cash. They're like, if you engage back with us and give some due diligence, we'll go to 33.
Yeah.
But there's a lot to unpack. Is it likely to get done? Some people would say no, and then both sides are kind of sort of saying it's in bad faith because on JetBlue side they're like, well, if the deal's, realistically, like, we think this deal can get done. That's why we're trying to do it, and we want to be able to compete with the big boys. And Spirit's like, you're just trying to block our Frontier deal. Because obviously if you get the shareholders to vote for this one and then it never gets approved, you'll have squashed the other deal they have with Frontier. So you have this weird back and forth, which is why this thing is not going to trade anywhere near $30. Today it's still trading below the cash and stock Frontier offer, which is like $20.66 in cash and some in stock. So yeah, there's probably a there today. Like you can probably have a look at it as somewhat of a momentum gap up style stock, but this isn't going to trade anywhere near that premium, and this story isn't even close to done. At least it's entertaining. Not necessarily if you're a shareholder, but it's good on the signs of you have two parties that believe that Spirit is worth more than it currently sits. The other side of this equation is, do the regulators allow either deal to happen, let alone the JetBlue one, which seems unlikely?
Yeah, and I was going to say, meanwhile, JetBlue stock is like down to $9. Like I don't know, they got to get this all figured out. JetBlue just keeps on getting hammered. I mean, I remember when they started talking about the deal, you're up in the teens, even higher than that, and now you're all the way back down to $9. So I mean, they need to figure something out, and if it's going to be Frontier, Save, all this kind of stuff happening together, if they get some interest back in JetBlue, fine. But I don't know what this means for JetBlue shareholders, but it's all the way down there to the downside. So like I said, I like to play this business with the Jets ETF, and that's sort of where JETS, Jets, who had a good draft, so maybe something to do with that. But right here, just I want to bring it to everyone's attention. If you go all the way back here to 2020 levels, that's where JetBlue is right now, right back here to 980. So if you want to take a stab on something, if you believe that it's going to accrue better for JetBlue, then right there, 962 coming into play again. I mean, that's where we are now. But let's just wait to see how far it goes down. $9, and then the ultimate bottoms here. And again, you were looking back to COVID times here, but that's $7, $8 down there at the bottom. I know you must. I don't know if you saw the game, but I was watching it. So I tweeted this out yesterday. The Suns just scored 27 points in the first half of a Game 7. Luka Doncic also scored 27 points in that same half.
Luka's sick.
It's just right now, adios to the Suns. But wow, that's the NBA is in good hands here as some of these young stars just continue to get the torch passed
Luka's
over
unreal,
to them.
man.
Luka's amazing. I mean, I don't know. I feel like he just does that step back three, and I don't know. There's not too much defense for that. Yeah, a bigger dude. He can handle down in the post.
He can pass it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. the thing is, I don't know if Zion's ever going to be anything because of his body type and he can't get his legs and ankles and knees and all that sort of stuff figured out. But that would be kind of cool to see all those guys playing together. With John Morant has been going nuts and Jason Tatum. You know, Jason Tatum's 24 years old.
Jason Tatum basically is right now, he's the guy that's elevating himself, man. Like, it's just like, everyone's always looking for the next stock. Like, what's the thing that's going to be the big one?
I think he would be too late.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's now gotten to that point where, like, imagine if SoFi went to like $20 today, like that's what Jason Tatum's done for himself in this series. Like, that's basically, like, it's just he's in another stratosphere at this point, and everyone just has to respect him. But I can't believe about the Suns. They're a good team. They got destroyed.
At home.
The Leafs came out to play and lost a Game 7. The Suns didn't show up to play.
The Leafs played better. Yeah, let's go Heat, says the playmaker. Heat versus Celtics should be an exciting one. There. So who I bet with, neither the Bucks nor the Sixers advanced to the Eastern Conference Finals. So unfortunately not for playmaker, unfortunately for me maybe, I have the Celtics now beating the Heat. So we rolled the bet over. Let's see what happens there. I like the chances with the Celtics. I don't know if Kyle Lowry's going to play, but this is a stock trading show. So let's go over to Brendan and find out what's up. And poor Frank has been waiting there. I don't know. We haven't got anything in our ear. I know he's a Chicago Cubs or White Sox? I can't remember.
He's a White Sox
fan. So, let's talk about the Blue Jays here quickly for a second, Neil. After
we don't
35, because I said this last week.
We don't have
that what's going on with the Blue Jays. After 35 or 36 games, they're a 500 team. Like, that's fine. They can get it going. I know baseball's a game of, attrition. It's 162 games. But come on, you have to be a little disappointed, I think, with their ability to cash in some of those runners.
My mom told me not to. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. So
on that note, over to Brendan.
It's not good. It's not good at all for the Blue Jays. Anyways, I wanted to get a comment real quick. I saw a couple of people talking about Twitter again. If you remember, made a big move on Friday to the downside on that headline about the deal on hold until Elon figures out how many fake accounts there are. He's now tweeting up a storm, or was over the weekend, suggesting that number could be as high as 90% of daily active users, although he's only filtering it by looking at 100 accounts.
What was that story?
What look, the methodology doesn't make sense to me, how he's checking this out, because the main Twitter account is like that's not a random account that you're picking. So why would you think it's a good sample? 100 seems a little bit light, but then he says he has a reason for picking the 100, and it comes from their own way of measuring. But I still feel the same way as I did last week about this. It feels to me like this is a path for him to be able to say no longer 54 or 20, 40 something, take it or leave it, because this is what I was able to find and I don't like it, so we're repricing it. And if he does that, I think he's got a tremendous amount of leverage to get the deal done, because you could argue that Twitter never broke 30. And look what the market did since the deal was announced. So therefore, or not since, look what the market has done since the deal was announced. There's a good reason to believe it could be a $25 to $30 stock, if you consider that, which gives him a lot of leverage over the board, because they'd be hard pressed, to risk the stock going back down in the 25-30 range and not just accept a lower deal. I think that's what's going on here, but it doesn't seem to me like he really does want to pull out just yet. Sampling 100 accounts to see if there's fakes. I don't see that as any real tell. Like, I feel like it's a little bit theater from Elon at this particular point, but it's real consequences out there. I think there's real risk that he lowers the price of the deal. I think thinking about that 54 now, it's like if you own shares of the stock, don't put that in your head anymore. It just, that'll happen. If that's going to be the case, that's still like your best case scenario. Okay, fine. But you got to knuckle down and start thinking about, okay, lower bid, or potentially the deal falls through. I think it's far more likely for them to be lower bid. It held 40 really well on Friday. I'm looking at it right now. I'm not seeing the same level of support, so I don't know if you can scalp it off that price.
It's hailing at my house.
No.
This is from my wife. This is hail right now. She's getting pummeled taking my daughter. Neil, it was 30 degrees yesterday.
That's
Celsius. It's hailing today.
It was so hot I had my hat on.
All hail.
Oh my God. I had my fisherman's hat on. It was ridiculous.
Whoever controls the weather. Okay, so thank you to my wife for that, and sorry that you're getting pummeled by little pelts of ice after literally yesterday rolling around with the sunroof down. It was like we were loving life. I was like, Canada's the best. And then that happens. Look, you said something about theater and grandstanding for Elon Musk. I don't even know the story, and I guarantee you this has something to do with something like that. Like, you know, you don't come out and say something like first of all, he's trying to buy the place at 54.20. Like, he puts the 420 in there just for jokes. And then he comes out with that excuse to maybe get out of the deal with that 5% thing. Now he's throwing around different numbers. For me, Twitter, I still think the deal gets done. I think, like I said, it was what, 43 billion? I think he chops down 7 or 8 billion because of that 5% and the money that he took out of Tesla. So I believe that this deal probably gets done at 38, 39 billion, maybe a little bit south of that, sorry. So whatever that equates to, I would just say you hold your Twitter shares. You know, if you're nervous about him pulling out seriously, then I think you just get rid of it. You're right. The interesting thing about Twitter today as we talk here is that you are just right back now to where we were before Elon came out and got involved in this, you know, pony show here. Because, you know, you were just at 38, 39. This is when he came out. We ripped to 50, 52. We never really saw 54. We saw it intraday, but we didn't see it closing anywhere like that. So you're right back at that exact level today as if he didn't even make a comment about Twitter. So I don't know, maybe this is a sign that, hey, we're right back down here, nothing's here. The only problem is Twitter with earnings and with the way the market's been going in the last month or so, Twitter really should be south of $30, $32, $33 at least down there. So to me, the deal falls apart. You probably head to that low 30 number, and then we work from there. So I don't know, Brendan, I think I'll just leave this story with you, and then when it changes, then we hop back over.
It seems to be doing that a lot anyways. Yeah, more to come, obviously, on the Elon and Twitter front. Let's bring in, as mentioned, Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content and Creative at the Small Exchange over in Chicago. Great to see you. Welcome back, by the way. Hope your vacation was well to start.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm glad to be back here in Chicago. I spent some time on the southernmost point of the United States, not Texas or Florida, but Hawaii.
Further
and
south,
it was
yeah.
Beautiful, man. Oh my gosh. My first time out there. You got to get there. If you haven't been, it was a beautiful time, but even more beautiful is your face and all the guys over there at Trader TV. So happy to be back here on Monday morning with some interesting action. Before we jump in, some interesting overnight action. Stocks opened higher last night. A lot of a continuation of Friday's bounce back across the different asset classes. But now, Brendan, everything is more or less unchanged. A very eerie U.S. market open here as we head into it. It'll definitely be another interesting week here. And with that, I guess we can start in interest rates. We'll get onto stocks and everything here in a second, but I just want to update people on where all the other asset classes have been, where they are now, and where we could be going in the near future. And with that, I want to start with the yield curve at large and the infamous TUT spread, the 2s to 10s. This is something that you and I have talked about a lot, Brendan, in the course of the last couple of months here. And it was a great trade. Those people who jumped in on the anti-inversion trade, we went inverted. You see here in that TUT spread price chart, when it dips below 0, that's inverted. That's 2-year rates being higher than 10-year rates, and now back to normal. And you can see just in the last month and a half of action, 2-year rates have gone from 25 to 26 bucks in the futures, or 2.5% to 2.6%. So just a modest rise. In the same time, 10 years have climbed 0.5 percentage point. So that's that normalization, the steepening of the yield curve. So while that trade, Brendan, pretty much gets thrown out, not as interesting as we're not at an extreme there, the big question for me coming into this week is how high can 10-year rates go? They've tried to punch through 3% a few times here. And this is actually a pretty nice setup for those getting used to futures, as you don't have to deal with this TUT spread anymore. You can go to this underlying market, just the singular S10Y market, if we can throw to the next slide here, and you can not worry about the spread factor and just worry about where the benchmark big 10-year rate market is going. And this is the benchmark that's quoted on Wall Street Journal. Everywhere that you look, your trader TVs, CNBCs, and everything else. And it's because it is the hub of liquidity in the interest rate curve. And it's the benchmark that people go to when they're pricing mortgages and everything else. And so this really becomes a question of, in this new environment that we're getting into with the Fed hiking rates, stocks not taking it so well, can we punch through these highs of 3% that we couldn't climb past in 2018, Brendan? Or are we going to continue to bounce off that 30 level? I know I'll be selling the 29s and 30s in the S10Y futures until this market can show me it can get into a new range, because we just haven't been able to surpass 3% in those 10-year interest rates there. But yeah, if you want to talk US dollar, I don't know where you want to go from here, Brendan. Plenty of stuff on the board here. Like I say, a lot of unchanged markets, but markets really close to extremes when you're talking about stocks, metals, crude, or otherwise.
Yeah, it was a crazy week last week, obviously. You missed a lot of action, Frank, in the U.S. dollar with CPI. We get CPI and PPI last week that were both still on the hot side, obviously. You brought up a good point in the message you sent to me yesterday, suggesting that there's not going to be just Fed Chair Powell speaking this week, but many Fed members speaking throughout the week. So comments, in this environment from anyone in the Fed seem to move the market. So again, something we have to pay attention to this week, although we are seeing the US dollar moving in the opposite direction a little bit here.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting week for sure. We don't have an FOMC on the board. We don't have any major central bank meetings. And I don't mean to be so U.S. centric, but the U.S. central bank has really been the leader in interest rate talks in the last couple of months here. And you're going to have, I think it's Powell and a slew of other Fed members speaking. I believe it's all day tomorrow. So hopefully you'll see some punches higher and lower in those rates coming off of those speeches. I'll probably be fading those moves as day trades. Tomorrow be an interesting one for interest rate day trading, although today might end up being an interesting one as well, as interest rates head lower going into that U.S. Open. But I do want to talk a little about that USD here, because you've seen rates and dollars climbing higher together. But to your point, Brendan, maybe a little bit of inverse action here this week. If we can see either US dollars hold in near the highs and rates revert lower, I would be more of the thinking that rates are going to trade around the range up here, maybe 10 years stick in the 2.5% to 3% range. And we might see some US dollar peel off of these 5-year highs here. And you can actually take a look at the US dollar options via SFX and see that the all-time highs for this market since we created the US dollar futures a couple of years ago, and since I have index data for going back the last 5 years, Brendan, is $163 in this US dollar index. That's against, euro, sterling, Canadian dollar, Australian dollar, and a bunch of other currencies. And right now, that call strike for the next 30 days is sitting at a 30 delta. So a 30% chance they're saying this US dollar beats all-time highs in the next month. I'm selling that 30 delta and thinking that that's a nice big fat edge. Whenever we're at these price extremes here, Brendan, it's this rarefied air that we've only been at a handful of days in the last few years. And you're telling me there's a 30% chance when historically there's only, 1 or 2% of data points above those levels. I'm probably selling that, thinking that I've got some edge in that market, but definitely will be a good short-term trade as well. Like I say, similar to that 10-year interest rate market, if we get those punches higher, I'll be looking for day trades, because you did get a really nice reversal in US dollar a couple of weeks ago, looking for another one here coming into this week.
All right, let's go to crude quickly here to wrap things up. We seem to ever want to hold $100 as support here, but we're back to, I guess the middle of the range if you consider the very high that was up above 120, obviously. But back in the middle, is there anything to do here with crude oil when it is kind of stuck in a range?
Yeah, I think that there's a great case for day trading or swing trading this crude oil market here, Brennan, especially off of this, like you said it perfectly, this middle of the range that we've been hanging out at. And the middle of the range for me in crude has been $100. I've been looking to buy 95s or 90s and sell 105s and 110s. And we're right back at those levels here again this morning. They're crude oil holding unchanged, not really getting that big move higher that I'd love to be selling into, but still at 107, 108 bucks. Maybe look for a $1 or $2 rally, because it's been 1, 2, 3, 4 times where they've gone above 110 bucks per barrel and then reversed lower here, Brendan. And if it ain't broke, I ain't going to try to fix it here. But in the long term, obviously, you can see that the price extreme here is to the upside. I know that there's a lot of people out there holding some crude oil shorts, selling some puts against it, hopefully working that cost basis even higher. Because, yeah, we've been stuck in a range here at the extremes, but not blowing out those extremes, but not coming back lower. So I'll be hanging short in the long term and be looking for rallies to sell, especially at this $110 a barrel level.
Nice information as always. Busy week ahead. Frank Caberna, Director of Product Content and Creative at the Small Exchange over in Chicago. Appreciate your time as always.
Thanks, Brennan.
More macro headlines, guys, to come potentially with, as you said, Fed Chair Powell tomorrow. We'll get some other Fed members to speak throughout the week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, macro is going to matter. And I think we have all understand that. You have that eyeball on the 10-year because it has been moving markets. So I don't want to say effectively, but that's kind of the term to use. But if you look at sort of the overall, just for us in terms of the day trading, like where we're at on, like, to say the SPY, the S&P, or even the NASDAQ, like you had that breakdown. And we made what looks like a wipeout bottom, a couple of really, really good days worth of a rally on the SPY here. And now you've got this chance to maybe continue a move, which we haven't really seen happen since you go back to like early March, where you're able to catch a bounce and have a continued rally. Everything's been short-lived. It's gone one level, consolidated, and then broken down. So, you're kind of looking for us to consolidate and potentially break back up. I look at what UVXY has done as a day trade, and that's continuing to head down below its support level. So, the chances that this breakout can hold are still in place, but we do need some extension today. We don't want any more scares. You stay below 3 on that 10-year, and that's going to go a long way towards helping this potential little relief rally that we're having here. So by the way, I already scalped a little bit of SoFi here. Just the breakout was at 720, so I did get involved on a pullback, and I prefer it at $7. But we can go long into it in front of that and just see if it takes out 750. This is another name which has broken back out, never really even had a chance to hold its previous support, and then took out the second level just this morning. So SoFi's been on the run. But there's a few other names out there that have caught some upgrades and downgrades, as I noticed SoFi on that board.
All right, a number of interesting names once again, guys, on this board. Baidu, Alibaba, I noticed there was a note on NIO as well on the watch list this morning. We'll talk about NIO, but some of the Chinese ADRs strong again. Netflix to the upside today, also Wedbush and Piper Sandler liking. SoFi, Foot Locker, Marathon, Twilio, and Carvana, but they did upgrade or increase their forecast for 2023. So very positive for Carvana.
Yeah, Carvana's, look, that's like that squeeze that happened last week for the short sell, and it's like 33%. So when it gets a downgrade, they also had like an investor event presentation, I think it was on Friday, talking about the restructuring and shorting some debt. I'm kicking myself. Yesterday, like on Friday, I was thinking, GameStop, day 2 pop, it'll go to that same high. And it worked. It just never went to the same high. Whereas Carvana, which put in a double top at 45 on Thursday, put in just an obvious top here at 45 on Friday as well. But I was looking at GameStop at the time. And I think the levels are pretty obvious. I mean, you get through this 45, 45 and a half, and maybe you're squeezing up to like 50. If it does squeeze, because of the short interest, it's hard to put a number on it. 50 is nice and round. 60 probably makes a little bit more sense if it gets super bullish. But that's an obvious area of resistance, and as I've seen it, until it gets through that, you're probably, every day that you don't get through 45, you're probably retesting 36 on Carvana. So there's obviously a wide range to be traded here. Upgrade or downgrade, that's not the story for me. The story is the short interest.
Yeah, I didn't even realize SoFi started popping off there when Neil was like, oh, he's long again. I was like, what? We went to 750. I didn't realize that. We were hoping for a little bit of a pullback here in SoFi. So now we'll adjust our expectations and wait around $7 for that play. I still really like this back down into 650. Now, I don't know if we're going to get that kind of a play today, 750 for SoFi, but I really like that play. Sorry, 650 down there for SoFi. So if we can get that in there, I like that for play. I do like it now at 7 a little bit more, so we'll start to average in if it does come back. But SoFi today on an upgrade, I mean, that's the most interesting name for me over there. And because we talked about Carvana and a few things halting, AMC didn't halt as much, as GameStop did that one day. I don't even think AMC halted, to be honest with you.
It never does.
Yeah, we've been trading it, like pretty good. This was the long that we had there. We also had that long, which didn't work out for us later on in the day. But we hit we hit AMC pretty good the other day on Friday. Now we'll look today to see. There's that 1250 level. That's really what I was looking for today. Will we take out that 1250? We were long and then we were short it. So this was another good day. We've traded AMC in back-to-back days and both profitable. So we'll look to do the same thing again today. I'm looking for it to take out 1250 long side there. Or, and again, do we really want to play in the middle? I don't think so here. We've talked a little bit about that. 1150 could be something on the bottom. That held, so we can wait to see if that comes into play. Again, they're 1150. We got out there on an 1150 break. Obviously, it held that, so we can wait for 1150 or 1250. That's what's on the outsides here for AMC. So I'm going to be looking at those levels there. For AMC Entertainment or Theaters or whatever, or AMC Corp. What exactly is their full name?
Isn't it entertainment?
Probably entertainment. All right, that's it for upgrades and downgrades for me, but I'll be looking at those names.
All right, let's bring in Arun here, get a check of the overall market as we head into a brand new week that should be interesting. As we said, we are starting things off, though, relatively unchanged from where we were on Friday. Arun, what are you looking at?
I mean, we got to continue off from Friday. They're really, like you said, it's pretty much unchanged. The market hasn't really done anything different to make us think any different. So we're just going to continue off where we left from Friday, which is going to be support bids south of the evens here. So anything south of 4,000 is catching a bid. So preferably into the mid 80s, maybe the low 90s, we can catch a bid, work our support zone all the way down to about 50. So 39.50 would be the back end support level. So anything south of 4,000 into that 50, you can figure out where you can catch a bid. If you can get a setup down there, makes sense. I could go for the upside. The problem with the upside, though, is that there has been multiple points where there's a ton of resistance here, somewhere above 30 and in between 30 and 50. So in between 40.30 and 40.50, there seems to be a big chunk of resistance, sell side activity, heavy sell side activity that's just waiting there. So I would just be very careful if you do decide to go for the long south of 4,000, that there's a risk reward profile that makes sense, because your upside is kind of somewhat capped here when you get into that sell side resistance zone. If we can get through that, we open it up a little bit, and the next resistance zone is going to be about 41.15. That's the top end level. So I've got 41.15 as the top end, but we need to get through that 40.30 to 40.50 area before we can get into the next zone, at which point we can start working a short. So wide ranges for the day. Market hasn't really done anything since Friday, so we are looking for bids south of 4,000. We just got to make sure that the risk reward makes sense so we can get past that 40.30, or at least get out some in front of that 40.30 to make sense of the risk on this trade. But there is availability for the upside. It is stalling out a little bit here, but that might just provide an opportunity for this market to come back a little bit into that support zone, maybe catch a bid, and then maybe we can take another shot at that 40.30 to 40.50 area.
Great stuff. Thanks, Arun. Yeah, we'll check back in again tomorrow. It's going to be an interesting week here as we come off of the CPI data last week. Obviously, we get a big move back to the upside the Thursday, Friday. We'll see if we can get any kind of extension here as we head into the new week. Let's get into the rest of what you need to know this morning as we have under 30 minutes to go here. Before the open, let's jump right into the watch list. Miss V will have that link for you in the chat if you do need it. I was just watching Twitter, actually. It just popped up on a volume scanner there, but not really doing anything. Ford, guys, in a filing after market on Friday, revealed an additional, remember they sold 8 million on the lockup expiration of Rivian. They sold an additional 7 million shares going into the weekend on Friday, so now hold 86.9 million. The only reason I bring this up is because Ford is a little bit strong here in the pre-market.
Yeah, I was thinking here, and I was thinking to myself, like, I don't really know what this has to do with Ford. I mean, obviously, them selling Rivian is part of their plan. They got the average prices around 26.80 is what we have listed there. Ford, yeah, it's been pretty disappointing that it's been down here near these levels, $12, $13 for a while. It had a good day on Friday, obviously, started at $12.50. But what didn't have a good day on Friday? $12.80 all the way up there to $13.70 today. So it's been a nice little bounce back here for Ford. Unfortunately, though, you know, when you're looking at a 20-minute chart, I feel like you missed a little bit of that bottom there. I don't know why it was down there at 12.10, so on and so forth before. Anyways, for me, the big levels here for Ford, we've kind of broke through them already. We talked about it trying to hold this 12.60, and it looks like it's done that pretty well. We only had one day that was below it, so I'm looking, you know, to buy Ford on any kind of a dip now back into 12. If we do get a couple down days, I think this is a name that you can definitely buy. They still do hold 80 million shares or something of Rivian, so you know, I like this name. It's just, I think you gotta, I mean, you're at 13.50. It's possible definitely to come back here into 13.25 or something like that. So for me, like I say, I'd rather play with Tesla, Ford, GM, those kind of more, you know, legacy kind of names here rather than a Lucid, a Fisker. I mean, I'm invested in Fisker, but a Lucid or a Rivian. I mean, and Rivian stock still is holding out okay. I mean, obviously they had that report where they got absolutely tanked one day. The report wasn't that bad. Come on. Oh, now Ford is, okay, there we go. Here's my daily chart. I did upgrade, so I was trying to see if this was a little bit better. But there we go. There's Rivian. Here we go all the way to the downside. We talked about it hitting that 20 bucks. Now you're up to 26. So it's been a nice little rebound. 27. It's been a great rebound for these guys. I'd rather trade Rivian through 30. So I think it has to break above right there, which is all the earnings and all that talk from last week. So let's break above 30, and then we get interesting for me on Rivian. But yeah, I guess Ford divesting some of their, you know, investment there in Rivian. So I don't think it's a negative or positive for either name. But yeah, I just think Ford's a buy there under 13, and Rivian's a buy above 30. We just got to get there.
It would suggest at least two things. One of them more certain than the other. We haven't heard a single filing about Amazon, which suggests that they haven't sold anything, and who knows what their plans are. But hey, you know, Ford has now sold twice, a couple of blocks, which that would at least suggest to me there's a chance that they might continue to do so, but Amazon seems to be holding fort. If there's that pressure on Rivian and we still haven't gotten above that channel, like you just mentioned, that 30, you know, if we haven't gotten back above that on the daily, it's been a pretty big run, but it's an obvious area of resistance. However, I even think where we got to on Friday is just as significant, 27 and 28. It breaks through that. That is room to run to that 30 channel. So you have to watch out for any squeeze potential, but the volume is relatively low here. So I kind of think it's a little bit of pop and fade play right around here on Rivian, guys, 27, 28. I'm looking for the pop and fade. As long as there's that overhang that another block could get sold, if there's a resistance level, I kind of want to be playing off of it. And you can see what would happen if you break this 26 to 25 and a half channel that you've had. Support here, sorry, resistance here, and then resistance again on Thursday, and then finding it as support for the breakout. You break that, and there's a couple of dollars room to the downside. You know, it's obviously every time it's gotten back to that channel, there's been some buyers in there, and it's run away from that price. So 25.50 to 26, there's your support. Looking 28 top. If it ever got to 30, you know, obviously I think that's when things get a little bit more interesting because you can see. Before things fell apart, there was a lot of support. We were noting that when it happened before earnings. I think it was the Friday before. It was the Friday before the lockup, actually. And I was just saying, why are there or Thursday even, why are there so many people buying on 30 on Rivian? I just want to see if the same thing is true if we ever got back there.
Yeah, we'll see how this plays out. But another week, another story about Rivian. Let's go to Netflix. You can always tell in the pre-market when it's going to be a little bit quiet heading into the open, as all of the stocks that had upgrades or downgrades are typically the ones that are making the moves, as is the case with Netflix here today. Yeah, up 3%, trying to make it 3 days in a row. I mean, when you look at the daily chart, this looks like nothing, but the past couple of days anyways have been pretty decent for Netflix. It was Wedbush raising their price target and upgrading the stock.
There you go. And yeah, and in our notes, also mentioning that they're going to do well because they staggered the release of Ozark, which I am embarrassed to say I've only watched one episode of. I watched the opener and was like, it's crazy. It looks fantastic, and then I just never had the time to continue going on with it. I got to get into that show at some point. But on the daily chart, it doesn't seem impressive. It gets past 205, and it will. And that's this is that bottom of the channel. And we keep talking about bottom channels here over and over again. But Netflix has been climbing pretty steadily into it. Ooh, that looks ugly. Been climbing steadily into it. This is your 205 here, beginning of May. That's where we've got. If you look at what was sort of the level of support when it backed off of that, at least very, very temporarily, is about this 186, which also happens to be where we ended up closing around on Netflix. So, my alert is set. That's the area that I want to dip by on Netflix. It's like a 185 to 188 area, and I'm sitting on 186 to open. I think there's room first to 200, then to 205 here. It's not a ton of volume, but it is one of the stronger names out there. And if we were to bounce off of 188, let's just say we barcode here or consolidate here late morning, that would be a decent area to start as well. But I like what Netflix has done. This is one that's broken a bottom channel, which is trying to make an extension to the next one, which is at 205. So playing the support, if we continue that long run, it's got a journey that's at least 10% top to bottom if this new range can hold.
Look, I bought, and I told you guys last week, I bought some Netflix at the 170 mark. I like Netflix here. I think that as far as the cash position and everything that they have, they're eventually going to be, and they still are, a profitable company. And I think they're just going to become more and more profitable as they, switch around some of their management, switch around some of their ideas. And we were in there buying it last week. I think it was 172 or so. And now, up to 193. I talked about dollar cost averaging. So that's what I've been doing here with some of the names that I like. Netflix is just another one of those. So a nice little move to the upside right now. Obviously looking at 194. You can't go wrong if you're trying to break that out. And then you can use 192, 190. But I don't want to take any breakouts early on these names. So we're going to wait for Netflix to do a little dance. Maybe if we get long at 190 or something, might be good. But a decent upgrade. I like them, and I think it works. So over to Valeria.
Hey guys, almost 6,000 people are watching us right now, and I remind you to like this video, guys. Please, let's get our regular 1,000 likes before the bell for the luck. Let's continue with Brendan.
All right, another one with an upgrade this morning. SoFi, as we said, moving in the right direction so far. It was Piper Sandler going to overweight from neutral on SoFi. They did, however, cut their price target. I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. Was at 12, now at 10, guys, for SoFi.
How do you go? Yeah, that's it. It's always interesting, yeah. Overweight, but let's drop our price target because we haven't looked at the stock in a few months. Look, this is one, and breakouts haven't been the best lately. However, this is at least pretty significant off of this level. And I think we were just talking about SoFi, but it is this daily chart level at about 7 to 720, where it looks like it's geared up to try to go. You've got the 50 period at 8, which was previous support if you go back to early March. So it's got room to be able to run. If you fail breaks, you always have to have stops for breaks that are relatively tighter because that's a different story than a dip buy. And if we fail this break, then you've got to consider where it can come back to. And I think that's sort of looking at that next channel. I think Sean was already talking about this. If it gets down to 650, that's got to be 2 trades, not 1. The buy the support down there would take it's going to have to pull back 10% to get there. So that's a very significant move. I'll buy in front of the dip here at 7, but if it takes out, if we get past like 695 or so, 690, that area, I'm just going to be getting out of the long and then looking for that next leg down. What you don't want to do is get caught in a wick top on a breakout. Sometimes these things need to consolidate and settle down. The market just went back to red, by the way. Oddly enough, we turned right around on the ES at 40.25 because, of course, we did. So now we're pulling back in here, which makes some of these breaks that have already happened this morning sit in that potential category of like top wicks if they don't hold support. SoFi is in that as well. And there's no ignoring how strong the move was on SoFi off of $6. So in a worst case scenario, if we ever saw that price again, I think we know what to do.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I was telling Fahad there about taking that $6 and possibly seeing a nice little run up. Today you get up to 720, you get to 750 in the pre-market. Look, this is just another one of those, and it's sad to say this, but it kind of is a meme stock at this point. Like you can get this thing up and down 20% in a day, no problem. We've seen it do 200, 300 million shares, especially at this valuation down here near $6. So I really am in love with this level here, 650. Like if we can ever get into there, you may want to give it a drop down here to 640 or something, and then depending on your risk profile, back into $6. But I mean, any kind of a dip down here, this might be like the old rug pull, so I'm actually pulling my 05 bid right here. I like it back into 7, but we've said last week that you can pretty much get any price that you think you can. So I'm gonna wait for SoFi just a little bit. I think 680 maybe is a decent spot to start. I put my bid down to 650. That was before we had this move up. So yeah, SoFi appears to be a little stronger than even I thought today, up 6%. That seems to be a lot on an upgrade. You know, until they get the student loan stuff figured out, and the President Biden's still talking about loan forgiveness and things like that, and throwing out numbers like your first 50,000 is going to be forgiven and things like that. That's not good when you know, a big part of your business is loans and loan forgiveness. Now, I don't know if the U.S. government will take some of those loans on and you know, feed SoFi a bit for that. But you know, again, I'm not versed in it. I'm just looking here at the daily and the minute chart, and honestly, the 650 to 680 here level here, really like this for a pullback. They've had great days, but look, don't get me wrong, this thing could still tank, right? And so watch out for the market. And if you think about what these stocks have done, a lot of names have ripped and then just come right back in, you know, like we've seen that even happen even with SoFi here, when we had some nice moves back up to $7 here before making all-time lows again down to 450. So, you know, it's been a pretty dramatic move. It's a nice little cup here. We'll see if we made a little handle. So if you're looking, this is the bottom of the handle, is $6. So let's see if that can cup out, make this higher, and then take out $8 to the high side. So I actually, now that I look at the daily chart, I don't mind SoFi at all here. I think it's a decent investment. I think if they get their stuff figured out and that bank charter turns out to be something, then yeah, SoFi probably gets back into this $11, $12 range by year end.
All right, let's go on to Carvana. Speaking of meme-ish type of stocks, this one made a move with AMC and GME last week, if you remember. I've seen anywhere from 28% short to 15% short on the low end. So take your pick as far as what you want to focus on for Carvana. But they came out this morning, increased their full year 23 guidance, which led to 3 or 4 different analyst moves to the upside, guys, for CVNA.
Yeah, so take Brendan's short interest probably better than what I said. I checked FinViz and saw 33%, but if the range that Brendan's seeing is 15 to 28, that's probably a little bit more accurate. So you're kind of splitting hairs, though. It's significant enough. It was with those squeezes that you saw before. And man, like, you can see what's basically happening. It squeezes, gets past 44, fails at 45, and then pulls back in. So every time it fails there, it's got room down to like 36, 37. If it gets out of that range, I mean, there's easy room to 50 would be the first thing to say, but that's just because 50 is 50. Like, you can make an argument that there's room a little bit higher than that on Carvana. It does set up. I did pay for the short today because I always want to have the flexibility. If it does pop and fail a breakthrough 45, then I have no trouble shorting that. But each time, it's been more about not shorting it into 45. It's shorting it when it fails to break at 45. It's not standing in front at 44.50 and letting it run you over. Really, you've just been able to get it on the way back down, and you can see those wick tops. So I'm going to favor that because it's showing strength. Like, it's had a higher low. It's now gapping up again. You know, somewhat of a positive catalyst, although there was also a downgrade. So the level's standing out there in front of your face. You know, until we break 45.5. You know, I don't necessarily think it's got the full legs on it, but that's still, like, that's $2, $3 from here, right? So there's a lot of upside momentum for Carvana. I'm always going to be watching GameStop just in case, especially in a day where AMC is up. If that got to 110, sure, but Carvana, far more interesting at that 45 level.
Yeah, like Carvana, what a nightmare. As used cars were all the rage, and yeah, from $350 down to $30, absolutely destroyed here. I just paid for shorts, which are like 1/10 of a cent per share. Like, why we even have to pay for those? I have no idea. But this 44 level is looking pretty damn juicy to me. So I think if you break longer through 44, especially on some upside guidance here, I like that for a break. I mean, there's 44 right there. You zoom it out. I mean, it's you know, on this level, we broke through 44 right there, went to 45.50. So I'm looking to see if it gets really juicy here, 44%. This short, sorry, $44. It's 33% short float here on what I have on FinViz. So yeah, I like that 44 there as a break, especially on upsized guidance. Like, people, the shorts might be like, uh-oh, now we're in trouble. Who knows if they're going to say that? We made the same call on Beyond Meat, went from 21 to 31. So, you know, can this go from 44 to 45? 45, yeah, probably pretty easy. So let's take that break, man. If we break 44, let's dance with that. There is also obviously some downside there at 42 bucks. That's held pretty good into here. A little bit of, consolidation more around 41 to 40 area inside here. We don't really want to get involved if there's anything happening there. But yeah, I do like this name today. Neil mentioned already you're up 10%. You saw GameStop trying to dance. We've seen AMC making some moves today, possibly as well. So yeah, maybe Bed Bath & Beyond's another name that we can look at. But for Carvana, it already has 463,000 shares. That $44 is just chilling, so I like it. A quick little look here on the locator, just to see if Carvana's on here, because it's a New York name. I never really see Carvana on here. So there's my AbbVie. I just saw that's a buy. And remember on Friday when I was having feels that this was going to be a long day? Well, there's absolutely no feels here on that same kind of thing because everything's mixed. Twitter's a sell. There's no doubt about that. I don't know if we talked about NEO yet. If not, we'll get to that. We like NEO today. There's Save. We know about that news coming through. AMC's a little bit of a buy, but you're in the hundreds of thousands, not in the millions here. So with only 10 minutes to go, it doesn't look like we're going to have too much action here off the open, Brendan.
All right, let's go on to NIO. As you mentioned there, Bank of America. You can see if you look at the chart when this happened, Bank of America out pretty late this morning, in fact, with an upgrade on NIO. It kind of dragged along the rest of the Chinese EV makers. Worth a note, XPeng and Li Auto also moving on that. But nice look here, up 3% for NIO.
Yeah, I know it couldn't save that 1450 break for 930. Like that was probably the one that just it set up and looked the best if you had to take one breakout. I think looking at that channel from last week was a fantastic one, 10% upside to 16. I like 14 support. I think it's more like 1380 to 1420 is kind of the area that I like on NEO. So it's a bit of a wide range. It looks like it wants to try to pull back. If it can hold 1450, the breakout price, that's great. But every time I've seen NEO gap up and run and start pulling back, it's usually second level, third level, not first level in terms of buying the dip. And you're getting a bit of a turnover here at 15 even. So I tend to think it's going to be closer to that 1380 to 1420 pocket where the dip buy is going to have to come in. But it can't be ignored. This is one of the better looking sort of bottom. It's a wick bottom through 1250, as you can sort of see here. And then you hold it, and then you break back out, and within a couple of days, you're breaking out of the channel. So it's pretty bullish. We just need to hold above. And there's room to the upside as long as you can get through 15. So count me as a buyer in front of 1380 to 1420. That's the channel I like on NIO.
Yeah, we're already bidding there as well. We really like that. I mean, of course, we write the sticky note before this big move happens to 15 bucks. And that's why we were looking at 14 down below there. But it's the number 2 name on here. I really like that SoFi 650, and I really like NEO 14. So I'll put the sticky note in there. Bears versus Bulls will be retweeting this, so will Valeria. But there's the sticky note in if you want to have a quick look. Thank you again, guys, for all the love on this. 35 retweets already. Are you kidding me? That's great. Thank you so much for all that love down there as well. 35 retweets, 100 likes. Means a lot. Veru's on here. AMC's on there. We've just added Carvana, although I didn't type it in there. That's the benefit of watching the show. Hopefully, we've got some other runs there. But yeah, I really like NEO back down into here. On Friday, obviously, it was a big day. Thursday was a big day. But we've already been down to 1250. So, to think that a lot of these names can't fall back in is definitely a mistake. You got to have your outs. So I'll be going long, and my bid right now is at 14 1/4. So if that comes back in, we'll just see if we can respect this 1380, 1390 level there. If we happen to break it, then I think we can probably get away from this name. But again, we don't want to push the envelope too much here with this stock. China, there's always news coming through. I like it. I'd be surprised if we dip down that far, but I'll be sitting there at 1425. You've gotten those dip buys before off the open. So, hey, I really like NEO here. I think there's a good opportunity for this name today to work. They catch the upgrade. It was Bank of America, I believe. So, good job there. And they've sold, their 500th car in Norway or something. I don't know if that's a big deal or not, but it shows their reach at least.
Can't be bad.
Yeah, exactly. It shows their reach. They're all over the place. So I like NIO here.
That Norway note was kind of interesting, guys. It's been exactly a year today since they moved into Norway. So it was just on the fact that it was 500 cars in 1 year, their first year, in fact. DTST, really the only thing moving in small cap world today, up on positive news. But $4, we're already through some key levels here on the daily chart. This is 350, 360, up to $4. So this area, very significant for DTST. If we do get a test of 4, we'll see what happens there. Otherwise, need a break of 350 back to the downside for DTST.
Yeah, that one. Oh, I guess I wanted to double check because that's a small floater, and I think you got to be at least a little bit careful if you're thinking about shorting it. Is it really 4.2 million share float? How do I see that number anywhere? Because obviously it shows in FinViz it's like 4.20, so I see 420. But anyways, yeah, $4, 460, some big levels on DTST. Just be careful. This is one that definitely could halt to the upside. I mean, I don't think I even want either halts once or twice, so I'm thinking 460 or $5 before I'd consider shorting it. If it falls apart, could it hold 3? That could be a pretty key level on the back end, but yeah, you got to be careful with these low floaters every single time. Peloton's on our watch list as well. I think they caught an upgrade as well. Whoops, and Peloton's on the NASDAQ, Neil. As always, I get that one. I'm still getting them wrong. Peloton 16. It had all kinds of trouble breaking past 16, but it's one of the few names that held up really well right at the end of the day when the market pulled back. So that's a big line in the sand for Peloton. If it rolls over, which it kind of looks like that's what we're favoring, you do have a failed 16 break, kind of short in front of the number and give it a go type of play. And then 13.75, 14 looks like that could be where the party started in the morning on Friday. That's probably the level I want to jump back to. It would have to fall a lot for me to want to do the dip buy in there, and it's in front of that 14 level. But Peloton set up at a big level in front of 16. Usually levels like that, I short in front of it before looking at any kind of a breakout, and that's where we sit.
Yeah, look, so just to go over some ideas, and we only have 4 minutes now. Wow, I can't believe there's only 4 minutes to go here until we're open. We wait for this moment all weekend, and now it's here. 148 right now on Apple. Apple's had a little bit of problems over the last little while. It's too bad my trades didn't load up, but we really shorted this 148 the last couple of days, so I definitely like that area right into here. There's the 148 on the 20-minute, so it's come right in. It goes back a couple days, plus Friday it held, and now you're starting to make a little bit lower. I really like that 148 at the same time. I put a 145 break down here on Apple just in case that does come through first. There's 145 that held at about 2 p.m. there on Friday. So I'm looking for both these trades just to make sure. I don't have the punch short in here. I really like that short. The only problem is off the open, we've really been sort of tested on some of these levels. Like, I'm not even taking a 148 break. I just want to see how these things go. I'll be averaged into the short up to 148, probably giving it to 148.50 on that short. Again, these are early plays. Like, we've seen the stocks bounce back, have some crazy movements off the open. You could see here, even on Friday with Apple, up and down all the way down to 143 before taking off to that 148. So at a $5 move in the first 2 hours. So we're going to have to watch out for Apple here off the open. We've talked about SoFi. We could just check in right now just to make sure I don't get punched in too much into Veru here. I like that 1350 if and when it loads. You'll see 1350 has been a decent high for Veru right into here from, again, Thursday or Friday of last week, so I don't mind that punch long through 1350 on Veru. But watch out for this 1370, which was the actual high, but there's 1350, so that's another one that I'm going to be looking at. AMC, we've talked about 1250, 1150, and then I didn't do too much work with AMD because I feel like it's caught here in the middle and that I don't mind trading it. This might be my number one name. It tends to be that way. But for right now, it's kind of in no man's land. I'd like to see this up here near 97, 98 for levels that that we like. Otherwise, you're just, look at this in here. I mean, you can play off a 92, but we got to get there. So that could be something to look at here, a 92 for a long, not for a short. But again, this market right here, as I'm looking at it, starting to fall back in. We actually got up about 0.5% there an hour ago, and now you're back down. So we got to watch out for this market. Oil's rocking still at 110. And yeah, this should be a great day. Oh, the imbalances quickly here as NASDAQ imbalances just came out. There's SoFi. SoFi came as a sell. So I'm trying to, it was there as a sell. I think now it's starting to get paired off. Yeah. So it's down there already. Well, wherever it is, there it is right there, 152. Other than that, I don't see much. There's Carvana there with a buy. So that could rip a little bit here off the open. AMC's with a buy. Other than that, pretty easy here. NEO, Twitter, but yeah, not too exciting here off the open. A couple names that we have targeted.
I can see the order on Carvana. The New York book order is 160,000 shares at 42.55. In case you're interested, Carvana, of course, with the short interest. One more for you. Affirm here. Affirm $24. You guys remember Affirm 24? Yeah, it was a big level that we missed in the morning, but in the afternoon, it did give you a couple of opportunities off that price. It's pretty much right at 24 now. So if Affirm cannot get through that, like that is an obvious sort of, we don't break this at the open, we can head lower if the market is going to be down. If it breaks that, you got 25.5 to the upside as overhead resistance. Miss V is on the bell. The market is sliding slightly back into red territory. We're red, then green, now sliding back into red, but Miss V's got the green on.
That's always
so hopefully that's going to be what gets us to the upside here today, although, you know, the market's going to do what it's going to do. We're here to make the trades and take the setups that are there because that's what it's all about. Can't get too wrapped up in the rest of it. But the countdown is on. Let's start this one off with a bang. 5, 4, 3, 2, and ring it, Miss V.
All right, we like it. Let's go. Thank you, Ms. V, for opening up the market for us. And let's see where we go. Instantly, I was looking at Facebook, but we could look at Apple also. Apple trying to get going here, but it's going to the downside right now as we open up here on AAPL. A nice little downside move. I'm in nothing yet. SoFi, I know, was trying to break 7. So, okay, SoFi finally did break 7. It only went down as low as 690, of course. We told you we were awaiting 680. So hopefully that can come through for SoFi right now, and then into 670. That's what we'll look at when that rocks and rolls. But right now you can see the NASDAQ starting to go to the downside. So watch out for Apple 145 trigger into the shorts.
Yeah, and I did get into Affirm there. It's like the last thing I saw was the first thing I got into. I got triggered out of SoFi once 95 broke. We talked about that as the first area for a stop. I'm trying to get some more shares in front of that 24. Underneath 24, I just like it for the fade trade and see if it can't break some levels to the downside. Through 24, you got to be able to get out of it. Peloton was very, very similar. It hasn't really given a pop, but that 16 is the equivalent level on Peloton. That DTST looks like it's starting to come back in here. So no pop into $4, let alone $4.60. This is where I don't want to be sitting there chasing the middle. I think it's either a short off the top or just be very, very patient with DTST. And Carvana hasn't really, I kind of thought that might give you, whoops, that's still in the New York. I thought that would give you the jump at the open. Not really doing anything. We're going sideways for now, but there is that chance we can get that fade off of 44. I just got into Peloton, so there it is. We'll see what happens with that. I took some profit on Affirm, but Peloton now making that run into 16. It breaks that. Then we're out.
Man, just a couple pennies missed by SoFi. SoFi's back to 710 right now. I want to look at Facebook on any dips. It doesn't look like that. I mean, it dipped a little bit. We are waiting for 195s. What the greatest trade? I'm not into anything yet. Obviously, that will change dramatically very soon. But right now, 93 held right there on AMD. So if you're looking for a level here, maybe on some sort of a dip, and there we go. I just told you something would happen. There's AMC. So AMC, we got long here at 1160 there, the kind of the level that we were trying. Ooh, nice little long. Let's see if we can get some out. There it is. Took a piece out right there on that level. We told you we were trying to defend that 1150. So yeah, we took 1170 there, sorry, 1160, and now I took one piece out up there at 77. Let's just start to punch around a little bit here and get some out, because we have a nice 1162 bid, long there on AMC. Our first out was there at 78. That was a pretty good out. So this is the only name that we're in, looking at that 1150 defense rate here for AMC. So 1 for 1 on that trade, but it looks like it's going to retest back down in. So that was a good take. We're out of about half of that trade.
Yeah, here we go, Peloton. We'll stack it up for Peloton. Starting to roll over again. That 16 level looking pretty good. Going to try and get some more shares out in the 40s as that starts to fall off here. Affirm also falling like a rock. Not solid like a rock, it's fallen like a rock here. Down to that 22.5. This was support earlier in the afternoon. I kind of thought Carvana would be a bit of a play. But worth noting here, big name, Microsoft. I don't know if we talked about Microsoft.
Did not.
We did not talk about Microsoft. It just got to what was afternoon support at 258. And this is going to be trouble. And the market doesn't get going without some of the big ones here. And you are seeing Softy just immediately drop. That has me liking some of the shorts that we're able to step into here. But yeah, Microsoft through that 258, you've got a couple of dollars worth of, I guess, a gap until you get to the next level. 255 was a big one for Microsoft. We are still watching a few of these other smaller cap names. That DTST continues, continues to try to hold this I don't know, 350 area. I'm not even going to give it a name. This 350 is just a psychological round number. As long as it holds that, I think the $4 level is in play for us still to the short side. But it's just a firm in Peloton for me. Both shorts working. NEO hasn't really dropped far enough to get into it just yet. Like, it did come down here, but still looking for at least another 20, 30 cents before I want to buy this dip.
Yeah, I know, same thing. SoFi's come back in as well here. So right now we're only long AMC. Just a quick one. AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. Oh yeah, it's AMC Entertainment Holdings. We looked that one up. So that's I think that's the official name there. But AMD, we just tried to dip by again into there. We were waiting a little lower here into 93. So that one's not working on the dip by. But some of these names still pushing lower, man. We had that Apple also at 145. It just tried to take that out as well, but resisted that. So it's too bad because we wanted the Apple short. It's just this market's not giving us any reload or any sort of a bump up opportunity to take advantage of that. What's up, Brendan?
EV stock's pretty weak to start, guys. Rivian tumbling right now, down 4.3% to start things off. Tesla as well, also under pressure to start things off, 1.5% straight to the downside.
Oh man.
Right, yeah, Rivian.
It's like you got to. I was just saying it to Neil and sort of under my breath, but not really. It's like you got to look at some of these names, man. Like it's. And I'm glad you mentioned it when you said Affirm, and I was like, oh yeah, Affirm. Like you got to remember some of these names because day after day, just because they reported at one point on last week doesn't mean they're not hot fire this week. So okay, AMD, we're here. It's all the way back down in right now, so we got to watch out for this AMD trade. If it takes down 93, we're out. It's too early to be like digging into any sort of a position now and believing that you're right. This market is 5 minutes old right now. So we're going to go long rate. We're long right here, 93.40. So let's see if it can rip up. We will take a piece out, obviously, if it goes back up into the 60s or so. We just had a decent spot. It went to 58 or something there. We'll see if it can get a little higher into the 60s. But if this market keeps falling like it's doing right here, the NASDAQ, then yeah, AMD's lifespan in my account isn't going to be very long. If this breaks through 93, we're gone on AMD. Don't need to be like holding on to anything right now. So we're going to watch out for that. Hopefully we got it, man. We had this whole move. We had 88.50s on Friday, and it went to $97 or something. So hopefully this can hold out. But again, you can't, I'm fine taking the winners, but at the same time, we don't want to hold a loser for $8 against us. So we're going to get out of this one real quick as it looks like it's trying to take out 93 right now. That's going to be the breaking spot for me. And then we will regroup as Apple's right now is getting hit through 145 as well. So NASDAQ might not be great here.
Yeah, 4,000 just got taken out there on the ES, so you are coming downside. And that's why, I just finally got the first entry point into NEO when it got to the break. You can call it the breakout price, but that was really like 740. A little bit early to even call it that, but I got 1431s there. I might take a second leg out of it here because the scalp trade on the longs is feeling like a much better bet, at least based on what I'm sort of seeing with the market. Like this thing doesn't want to hold above even 40, so I'm just going to quickly take another leg out there. And it's the way this market is coming back in. I'm even seeing UVXY get back to 16. Like, give me a break. Now it's coming back into that channel that I wanted us to break down. This is what I didn't want to see. I wanted us holding below this channel on UVXY to make some of the longs work this week. But yeah, so far, I can't complain. I just didn't get any Carvana. That's a bit of a disappointment. That's only coming to the downside. Brendo?
Oh, no. Carvana.
Little one, AGRI moving this morning, guys, up 41% here on a business update. They also updated acquisition. They're currently trying to close, so huge volume coming in right now, up 41% for AGRI.
We almost got a trade here on AMD. There it is. Oh, what did we just get there on AMD? Did we get 58s? Yes, we did. So it just went into 58 there, which was that nice little level that we got. We got some 50s, we got some 58s, and now we're really cooking here with AMD, hopefully to the upside, as we're having a decent day again now with only two positions, but both are working out for us. AMD long at 40 right now. We just took out a piece there at 58. We're hoping for upside on this name. And if we're going to look at VWAP, we're going to look at the NASDAQ retracing. I do have an offer at 94. Hopefully we can get out of that rate at VWAP here at 90. So, wow, this is a pretty sweet trade right here for us on AMD. So we'll get a piece out at 80. Why not? As I wait at 90, did we get those 90s? Yes, we did, man. Here it is. Was last week a fluke? Wow, we can't do it two in a row and call it a fluke. Here we go to the upside again. Goes AMD. So it's a nice little movement. Can we get $1 on this play? Yes, we can. Just a matter of this NASDAQ trying to continue to pump higher. And there it is again on AMD. Sorry, look what I'm in. AMC and AMD. The the two A's right now. And hopefully after this, we don't have to go to AA. What's up, Brendan?
Netflix just had an alert, guys, near day highs there, approaching 196 once again. Volume coming back into NFLX.
Yeah, that one never came in at all. But if you remember some levels from yesterday, one of them might be 43 on Intel. Yeah, 43 on Intel is like the gift that keeps on giving. It just bounced off of 43.03, just came back into 43.20. I said as long as this level is here, I'm going to be playing it every single day. Did it every day last week with one exception, and that's going to continue here. So Neo and Intel bouncing. The market got back above that 4,000, so you are seeing a bit of a recovery here. So some of these longs are starting to come into play. I didn't talk Tesla at all this morning because we were focused on Neo. Tesla broke 750. Just now, and then whipsawed right back to the upside. So you got this wick bottom through Friday's low at 750, and now it's trying to reestablish here. So 750 definitely looks like a little bit of a thing here for Tesla. But wow, it was decent volume too that it took out that 750 level, and then a huge recovery on it.
Okay, so shit just got real for me. I just got into Carvana. I just got into Veru. And by the way, guys, we are $1.40 now in the money on this AMD trade. Like, we were just like, oh, what to do, what to do. There's only one thing to do, and that is backflips, because this is cashed in. Look at this start to go. $1.50 now in the money. $1.70 now in the money. For AMD breaking 95, what exactly are we on right now? Look at this market going to the upside. Carvana, thank you. Come again for that as well. We are long Carvana, and we gave this one to you guys, CVNA through 44. Let's see how far we can go on this one. You know what? I'll take a piece out in the 40s if we can. Let's take that out. There it is. Carvana destroyed. Veru to the upside right now. We actually got a piece out at 65 on Veru right there as it breaks through 50. Now you're coming back in. Watch out for a 13 break to the downside on that name as we continue to go. AMC, by the way, look what's happening on AMC right now. Long 1160 and still rocking and rolling on AMC. Wow, we're 4 for 4 today. This is a fantastic day, man. We walking on water again, baby. You're on the right show here. If you like winners, if you like action, Carvana 50 cents, AMD $2 now in the money. That just went to 95.50. We're going to start emptying out some of this, man. We're already on one, and the day continues, and it's only 10 minutes in, guys.
I just got out of Neo, just popped all the way back to 1480, so back to the high of the day. I just took it out there. That is a crazy whipsaw bottom. I'm going to take that profit every single chance we get. 15 is still available for us on a breakout, so why not still look at it? CVNA, just go call it Carvana, guys. Carvana did make a move to 45. It got to 44.88 and pulled back in. So I'm on the short side of it right now as it came back through, but I'm not letting it through that 45 level. 3 days in a row, it's been a good short there. If this is the day that it's not, this is the day that it's not. But Tesla, after I just took out Neo on that dip buy, like my eyes are now squarely on Tesla. If it reholds, if it ends up holding this 750, that is a great base of operations for it here. And sometimes you just want to look at the big boy, but that is one heck of a wipeout bottom we had. If we can hold 4,000 on the NASDAQ and now back below that 16 on UVXY, I think the longs are looking mighty juicy off some of these levels. Wow, Tesla, I just didn't see that coming. It was doing nothing in the pre-market.
Yeah, I haven't even looked at Tesla. The only thing, we're just obsessed right now with AMD. I mean, look at this bottom. We did this on Friday. We literally had this exact bottom down here, 88, 88.50. We had the long. Look what long we have right now, 93.40. So we're in the money $2 now on this long. And we've actually done pretty good. I mean, obviously, as I look back, I'm always like, oh, man, I wish I held more. But you could see what's happening here. Nicely done, right up to the upside. Got some out on that 95 break like we wanted. We like to hold it up to that level. So we actually did pretty good, man. No real early dumps as this starts going now $2.25 in the money. Carvana just touched 45 again. And now, actually, 45.50 for Carvana. I don't have any offers out, guys, until $47. So that 44 break, again, given to you guys early. Up here is 48. Let's see if we can ride. I mean, right now, we're way in the money on Carvana. Scratch that. I'm going to take another piece out on this name. If we can get it here at 45.69er, we'll take a piece. I don't know why we're choosing that. We just hit offer enter, and bang, there it is one more time, guys. We barbecuing up those profits. Now $2 in the money on Carvana. Well, $1.80 in the money on Carvana. 225 in the money on AMD here. AMC is 50 cents in the money. And we got the heck out of Dodge on Veru, but we still have a small piece. We're going to wait to see if it takes out 1250 now on Veru. Otherwise, it's upside. We are now double our daily goal as it's only 943 right here, guys. So pretty happy days are upon us in this camp.
Yeah, we just had that break of that high. I'm out of Carvana, by the way. I mean, I'm not holding short two levels like that. You can't do it. But it just made another test. Look at here on the daily. It looked like I thought it'd get to 50 on that move, but it looks like it's trying to check up at 47 here. I don't want to jump into that level. I think that's too premature. NEO just got all the way up to the high of the day. I think it was the right call to cover it at 15 because there's always the breakout trade at 15 to be had. If you can get 30s to 80s, why not take it? Now it looks like it's trying to roll back over. The market's heading back in southbound, so some of the names that we had to the short side that worked the first time through, like Peloton 1580 all the way down to 1540 is now right back below that 16 even, which sets it up once again for the pop and fade. We already saw it do this once. It broke 16. Now I'm going to jump back into the same trade as we see Peloton come back into the downside. Microsoft is back at 257. That's one of the barometers I'm looking at for the overall market, but it's relatively weak. The one I like a little bit better on the way back down is let's see what Tesla can do at that 750. It had way more juice to it than Softy, although if you're watching the overall market, Softy might matter more, but Tesla coming right back into this 750.
All right. Yeah, 750. Wow. That might be another good buy spot for me to get some more shares on Tesla, but we'll do that in our longer term account afterwards. Yeah, so what a great out that was on Carvana, man. 45.80 we got out of that one. So do I think it's still going to run? Yes, I do. But how far? I do not know. So we're going to get out at 43.50 if it takes out that 43.50 area. We'll give it all back. Not all back. Sorry, what am I talking about? We'll lose. We're long right now at 44.15. So we will give back about 70, 80 cents on that play if it does come in. Still be a positive name for us, obviously. Trying to let this one fly a little bit there. Good outs, obviously, on AMD. 95.60 was our best out. As this has come back in, look at the NASDAQ started to fall. So now you got to look for some reloads in some of these spots, right? Nothing wrong with holding on to things, man. I mean, I'm not ever going to doubt any of the calls that I make. Look at AMD there, 93. I mean, I'll always look back, and we always have doubt, but second guessing ourselves. But that's why I get out on the way up, right? Someone just said, shout out to Squanchy there. Yeah, you're welcome, man. He took the plays. He's done for the day. He's out of there. And I don't think that's a bad strategy at all. But I think that even if you feel like you're done for the day, there's nothing wrong with sitting around, looking at some names, trying to paper trade or using less shares. So that's my advice to you guys. You never know what the day's going to bring. Obviously, if you're busy, do something else. But there it comes back down. And guess what, guys? We have 10% of our AMD trade left. So, out of there, when it got up to 95, we talked about that. We emptied a lot of our clip out at 95, then couldn't believe how high we got up there at 95.60. So looking for some reloads, but right now the market's come back in. Sorry about that. I had no idea that AMC, I was watching it, man. We're long at 11.60, but it went to 12.20. I mean, that took out yesterday, that high that we were sort of looking at, that 12.50. So we should have got some more out up there. Thankfully, we went over and got most of them out there at 12, but some of these names are falling back in right now.
Yeah, and back below 45 is Carvana, so I'm going to jump right back to the short side of the trade. I did get back for reloads. I did get Peloton. You'll see when it got back below 16, same story. Going to cover it on the way down to 15.50. Tesla just tried once to hold 750. First time through, I got in, got out. I want to see it maybe consolidate or something. This is starting to get a little bit weak overall in the market. And you're starting to see it's almost like one of those quick little rug pulls, that last little bounce. And I'm going to jump over and show you what the ES did. You can barely tell that spike up now, and then you get that hard rollover. So, for now, it looks like it put in a bit of a failed break back out style trade. CVNA always have a stop. Oh goodness, it's still in the New York. You always have a stop. It's now back below that 45. So you got a wick top up to 46. I've jumped back into the short in front of that 45 level. I think it's got room. 40 to 43 is a bit of a channel, but you want to make sure you get some out in front of it. Going to get to NEO in a quick second, but I did not want to ignore that AGRI, which was really going, I should say. It got exactly to $2.50. 49 is the high, and is pulled back. A level like that, $2.50, $3, something along those lines, I'm always looking to fade it because it's such an obvious area to get out. So if it gets up to like 240, 242, I will be short AGRI. That's a new one to the list. Thank you guys for actually pointing it out. Saw that in the chat first when you guys were mentioning it. But here comes Carvana. I'm not sure why I'm looking the gift horse in the mouth. We'll take the first buck out there and then see if it can't rally a little bit. Not rally, fall a little bit further down. It breaks 43. I think we've got room down to 40s on this.
All right, so we're just into another name here, Facebook. And again, just because it's been so strong over the last little while that we don't mind taking a few shares here on FB. So it's going to break 190. Again, we're going to get out if it breaks 198. I mean, this is a very, very violent name. I have no problems losing on this and then getting it all back, you know, if and when this market continues to tank. And we can sort of look at this more near 195, 196. But for right now, we'll put a small little feeler out here on Facebook and just see where we go. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get out here on a 198 break, but really shouldn't. I feel like this is just a little too conservative of a play, but I'm going to make, there it is. I'm going to make it anyways and get out there on that 198 break. Yeah, just like I thought, that might be the bottom there on that break. But we didn't have many shares. It just didn't really want to, you know, see that break one more time for us. So let's get longer. Shoot. Look how whippy this thing is. I mean, if the market goes, man, this thing's going to rock. So I don't know. We just got out there, but that 198 could have been a temporary little bit of a bottom there. All right, oh, darn it. We shouldn't have got out of that, but we did. So now we did. So now we have to regroup here. I would have been right back into the money soon, but there's Facebook. We'll sit on the bid one more time, take a little bit less shares, and see if we can't take advantage of that play now on the lesser shares. But there it goes, right back up to the upside. Missed opportunity there on Facebook. Probably should not have got out. We'll try to bring this back down a little bit to 197-ish. That could be a little more reasonable. So we'll try to, this could have been a big trade. Got out of it, that's okay. We'll regroup on this one, but I do like the Facebook long. Just let's start with a little less shares so we can hold it back down to 197-ish. Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, I just got, like, I mentioned it to Battalion, I think, in the chat there, Battalion or Rob. I got stopped out of that 750 on Tesla. I didn't really want to hold it at all. And now you're seeing this market come back in. So it is, with one exception, it's the shorts for me. I just rang register on Carvana in front of 43 there. Once it retook 45, I was short right in front of it. Like, that was that line in the sand, like that 45 area. When it fails to break, I want to jump into it. The only long I got left, of course, it's Intel 43, Intel in front of 43. That's the last line in the sand that I can find. We do still like NEO, but a little bit lower. Let's see where that one can base out. Brendan.
Twitter back to the lows here, essentially, guys. Just made a day low on decent volume. We were wondering what the reaction was going to be this morning from Elon tweeting up a storm. Back to the downside here, almost 6% again for Twitter.
Oh, man.
6%?
6%, yeah, it's a lot. I'm just, you know, this is going to happen to you when you're scalping like this, and we do it. Look, we're still pretty close to the high of the day here as AMD continues to go down. But, you know, I hate losing, and we can go 4-1. It's fine. But honestly, that Facebook, like we got down ticked there like crazy. We now be in the money almost $2 on this trade, and we got out of it. But that's going to happen to you. So just so you guys know, you know, sometimes people say on the chat, these guys ever lose? Yeah, there's one right there. That sucks. So whatever. We'll still continue to watch this. Yeah, Tesla's above 750. I like that. We can look back into that trade. I feel like this market has not made a bottom or top yet. I mean, that's easy to say, but like, look at this. A move to the downside, a move back up to bring it back, then a move right back down into some of these levels one more time. So, I mean, right now the NASDAQ isn't really giving too much to sort of hang our hats on per se, but I think that Facebook was a good trade. Missed it. We'll wait to see if we can get it again. Into Apple. Again, it's not really falling as much as I thought. I mean, it's with the market here. I was really trying to get something up here around that 146. So that just came in a little bit ago, about 10 minutes ago. It went back up to 146. So that could be a possible shorting area against that 50 period. We saw it and then dropped back off. So as long as this market stays low side here, I think averaging into shorts and stuff like that is probably the right play on Apple. So we just got to find an area to get in. And when we do, we'll let you guys know. But I'm thinking more like that 146. But there it goes, man. AMD right back up. Let's take a piece out here on that name if we can, which we can. So we'll just go offer, enter, and bang it out right there. 95 25 out right there on AMD. Now we still have a piece left, but right back to day's high. This Facebook is making me sick, though. As we take down 200, we were long at 198.50. No.
The whipsaw continues, right? Like, we're just bouncing once again. NVIDIA in particular, we've talked about, you talked about AMD there. I was mentioning Intel, but someone just asked about NVIDIA, and it's getting back to, almost back to green. I don't want to jinx anything. It did find big time resistance on the higher time frame, well above here at about 180 to 182. So there is room to run if it can hold above 175, but that's proved a challenge. Almost everything that's popped is failing to get past those highs. So at least for now, I'm looking at these reload short type of plays as long as we can make these types of tops hold. And if we break out, great. There's lots of room to the upside on a few of these. If you're looking at NVIDIA in particular, it's nowhere close to that 180 to 182 resistance. It's kind of lingering in the middle. That's why I liked Intel a little bit better. Like, it was just pretty clear where the obvious levels are. That 43 is continuing to kind of work there at the bottom. I got back into Peloton. That one just came right back to this 16 area. I want to make sure I actually adjust my stop this time and it gets short in front of it. High of the day is the new the new exit point. It was at 16.17. It made the high. You can round it to 20s, but that's what I usually end up doing. So my stop will be at the high of the day on Peloton. I have not gotten back into a reloaded Carvana, but it's back at 45. So time to make that decision. Brendan.
Just saw a note on Tesla, guys. Heads up to the upside potentially for Tesla. They just opened apparently the reservation system for the semi truck. So 20,000, and you can get on the list for a semi.
Oh my God. I'm just like disgusted with my trading there on Facebook, but not with AMD, as we'll tweet this out again for you guys. AMD, guys, long 93.40 still in this. We just took a piece out as it went all the way to the upside there as well. So we, some good trades here early. And then look at AMC. I didn't need you guys to remind me. I actually didn't even look at the chat right there, but look at this. AMC retraces all the way back up. So two bottom picks for me today. AMC, bang right there. This is why our day is monstrous. Despite me getting pissed off about Facebook, like we would be through the moon now, but that's okay. There's AMC and there's AMD right there on two high sides. Obviously, Carvana did come back down. We got out at that 44.50, but we're still a nice positive stock for us as we ring the register on Carvana today. We took $2. First we took 40 cents, then we took $2, and then we lost 70 cents. So net, obviously, Carvana has been a nice little win for us right there. But yeah, we need to just find some better names. Eli Lilly, nicely held for me on that one. Wow, look at AMD still going. Don't tell me Facebook's at 201. It is at 201, disgusting. Look at this Facebook trade we had, guys. Averaged into 198.70, got out when it broke 198. Oh man. 201 right now for FB, but not crying over spilled milk, although we are. What about Roblox, RBLX today? That's, of course, a New York name, and that's the mistake that Neil always makes, and I just made it as well because I went from Facebook to Roblox. So now I got to wait for this New York chart to load up, but a nice little 3.5% move upside for Roblox today, up to $34, stopping and dropping. So we really got to just figure out which way this market's going to go and put some plays on.
Oh, I'm kicking myself. Preparation matters, man. AGRI, I didn't realize we didn't have locates of. So it got back up to 245, that lower high they were looking for, and then started to turn around once again. It's still in the channel, so I might actually get this trade after all, but it does feel like I might have missed the shot at the top on AGRI. 250 still going to be the price area we go after. It might have been one of these where that's the last ditch effort. It gave you two shots after it tested 250 to be able to get into it, and that one could be maybe head to the downside. I did continue to scalp some out of Intel off of that bottom, that 43 area looks pretty juicy. Microsoft is like, we're off the lows. At least everywhere I look, we're sort of off the lows, like bouncing here. But Microsoft, it's at the low of the day still. Like, it's relative. Maybe there's something else that's relatively weak like Microsoft, and I'm not seeing it. But the big cap names, this is the one that's sort of lagging here. If there's a pop, this one probably needs to be faded to that 560 area, as much as I hate to say it. But, Softy now breaking the lows of the day. It's just, it can't seem to get going, and the market has trouble when it's not part of the party. Peloton reload is continuing to hold below that $16 area, but going to have to get these bids out. It's whipsaw action, which means you want to be scalping some of this. You're just going back and forth inside of a range. It's time to take some of that profit inside if you can, and I just said that lack of prep or getting those locates might have burned me on AGRI. There it goes. It held 250. It gave you two chances at that 245. I obviously didn't get it here, so that's pie in my face. I definitely deserve it. As the market tries to come back here, worth noting, NEO still holding the top end of the range. So it gave the dip, and then it ripped, but you've still got this 15 level holding like an absolute champion here on NIO. This market starts to get going, and NEO's setting up for that 15 break to come into play.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's good for that, for sure, for NEO. We tried to get the longs down lower, but unfortunately it didn't go, just like SoFi. Wow, unbelievable. All right, new position alert right now, Apple. We're long AMD, but we're going to short Apple right now. We're short right here at 12s or 13s. We're going to see where it goes. I mean, we do have this 146 area that I'm a little bit concerned about. It's more like 146.50, so let's see if we can take it up to 146 and then average into that one. If indeed it goes, I guess I can cancel my 148 offer. I don't think that's going to come into play yet. But there it is. If this can get up to 146, we like it. We like it even more than that. So we're going to watch to see if that takes down this 50 period. And if so, we want to get short. We want to get shorter into 146 and then see if we dare it to take out 146.50. I don't really. But if it does do that, then yeah, we'll be cruising with that one right now, Apple. So a new position into the short. Just checking back on Facebook because I like pain. Okay, Facebook's come back in. So I'm going to actually right now cancel some of these Facebook trades because we're short Apple right now. It sounds crazy to get long Facebook. So let's go short Apple here. We will get long Facebook. I'm very, very interested in this name, obviously, if it comes back in just a little bit more. Facebook strong. We talked about this for the last 3 weeks, how much we've liked Facebook into these levels. So any dip buy, we want to definitely get long into Facebook, but I'm going to wait for that to come down to near or around that 196 area because, hey, we're trying to bank right now on Apple short. So let's go over to Brendan, who's always banking something.
GFF, Griffin Corporation, huge move here, 20% straight upside. They just announced they're going to review strategic alternatives, including the possible sale of the company. So a big pop for GFF in New York.
Ooh, yeah, strategic alternatives. You're hearing that a lot this year because it's a good way to get the stock price up. But we're going to go back to a firm here. It did take out 24. We had the initial short, worked all the way down to 22. It came back, retook that 24 area. Now it looks like it wants to challenge that one again. If it holds above, there's $2 worth of a range that I don't want to be involved in. It's either short in front of 24 or play it to that 26 area. I do want to quickly show this on the ES because we just did make this double bottom, and it's a double bottom on the morning in some ways. But if you go back to sort of late on Friday, this was afternoon support as well, this 39.80. So you are finding a significant area of support, at least on the ES, that's worth mentioning. And if you're looking for those shorts, that's why make sure you're scalping some out, taking some profit. Good area of support down here. Microsoft continues to look relatively weak. That DTST looks like it's still holding, but now below that 350 mark. So it's still holding out. I'm still waiting for that one good pop up to the high to be faded. It is a low floater. I think it could start going again, but wow, is it ever barcoding? Carvana, we're just holding on to this one as it looks like we've got it. You know that one's it's a New York stock deal.
Yep.
It's just, every time it gets me, man, it's just, whatever. These growth type names, I just always think, and it's 4 letters too, like I'm an old head. But it keeps trying to take up that 45. It can't do it. Fail. Well, it did break a nice good break the first time, and then three successive breaks. If it gets down into the 41 42 range, this is where I'm looking to take it out. It's found a lot of support down around that 43. If that breaks, looking for an extra couple of dollars on it. But now this working. It's working for now, so we want to hold on to it, give it some room to run. The later it gets on in the day, you don't want to look that gift horse in the mouth completely, but starting to fall in here. Peloton is, I don't know, like all you see is it just keeps on bouncing off of VWAP here, and the shorts have been good. We've had that one break. Like everything is broken once and then managed to hold below, so the reloads are good, but you're not getting continuation into the bottom. So more aggressive scalping looks like it's the way to go.
Yeah, before we go to Brendan here, we'll just ring the register there. You hear the siren going off. Look at Apple. We just put this trade on. Now 70 cents in the money. Oh, it was 70 cents in the money. Now 50 cents in the money on a little bit of a bump up there. We take some out there at 90. We take some more out at 75. And now we'll hope. I was bidding 57, which, you know where it went down to? 58. there. I cannot make this stuff up. Let's see if it comes back in. We're not worried about it. Hopefully it does come back in right now. We will have to relook at this AMD trade because, again, short Apple. I mean, we have a very small, I have 5 times the shares on the Apple trade than I do on this AMD long right now. So just to give you guys some perspective, but Apple trying to come in, looks like we just bounced off 144.50. That's the bottom of the day. We were waiting there. We got missed by half of a penny. So hopefully it comes back in. We'll get that. But I might take another piece out here. But we're still going to wait for that 144.50 to come through here on AAPL. But without any further ado, it's Brendan over there at the big screen with Happening Now.
Hey guys, yeah, red board to show you, unfortunately, to start things off this morning. Back to the downside the market goes. The S&P a full percent in the red. The Dow 0.75%. You can see the Russell, all of them pretty weak here. In fact, the weakest of the group outside of the NASDAQ. The actual chart on the NASDAQ, though, the composite gaps down, kind of grinds along in the same range today, whereas the 100 showing a little bit of relative strength. Here in Toronto, we're unchanged from where we were at the open. Ford, we were talking about in the pre-market on that Rivian headline straight. Southbound, as we saw, 1370, 1365 the top for Ford. Netflix as well was on the list this morning. Reversed off 195, straight back through 188 for Netflix, guys. Back over to you.
Okay. Well, I learned something there. I didn't know Ford went straight down. I want to get into that Ford trade for sure if we can.
Let's do this one. I've been waiting for VWAP to get taken out again on Peloton. It just did. So we take a few more shares out, 70s, then in the 60s. I'm also bidding in front of 50s. But if we break that 1550 area, then we're looking to see if it can maybe make a bigger leg to the downside. Now, obviously, the futures are going to have to break that support for that to be the play, but as long as we're below 16 even, I keep reloading it. It did try that wick out before. Carvana's looking like it wants to work in the money. I just had that Intel long, which we just reloaded. I mean, every time it tests down here, I'm grabbing that bid. At some point, like, this thing is going to hold below and take out like a 42.80, and then when that happens, it's going to be shorting in front of 43 instead of going long. But right now, we are still playing the long side of that trade. As long as we want to hold support on the futures, then I want to be on that side of it. I was just asked in the chat if I thought that that DTST had another leg in it. Well, it's starting to go here. Whoops, I'll zoom back in for you. It's starting to go right now. My first inclination is to go short off the high of the day. But whenever you hold like this, nowhere near pre-market support, the answer is usually yes. That's a parabolic pop-up. And I almost always end up in the short trade before it turns into any kind of a long. So always willing to kind of make that stop out through the high of the day. The high does sit right here at about 380. It's actually 381. So I'm risking like 10 to 15 cents depending on slippage, but that's usually the play I'm looking for. If you got the long, congratulations to you. If it breaks 380, very good chance it should test. I mean, at least test $4. 460 is the next level into the upside, but I'm shorted in front of this high of the day. You actually just got it now.
Oh, yeah, now the market's starting to rip upside here a little bit. As I was just watching, I was like, what the hell? AMD just got going, boy, there to the upside. Wow, big movements there as a lot of these names starting to crack higher, which just gives me an opportunity to reload Apple. So there it is. We're going to reload this Apple shares, and now we're short at 30s. So if we can get some more out in the O's, like right before 145, maybe there's something there. You could see the NASDAQ trying to completely change direction now, upside, trying to take out that 50 period. So, like I said, we're here to trade, and we're going to try to put on the best trades we could find. And right now, for me, it's going to be Apple short, but this NASDAQ could break, and if it does, then we got to watch out for that. So let's just go over to Apple quickly. I still like this 146.50 area, so that's 146 there. Give it a little bit of room. Like normally, just like that Facebook trade, we should have got longer Facebook there again, by the way. But instead, we'll just hold this Apple short. I really feel like, that 146, you got to give it a little bit of room. Like we didn't do that. Oh, no. Came right back to 198 again. And we were waiting a little lower just in case, Apple cracked. We wanted to have that short and not get run over with Facebook, because if the NASDAQ breaks, then obviously so will Facebook. But the NASDAQ did not break. And look at this one, 198 right to 199.50. So I'm almost wondering if I just need to switch the game up a little bit here and only look at Facebook and buy dips instead of trying to trade Apple, AMC, AMD, and Veru. Like, it's a little nuts here. What's Carvana at right now? 43. Okay, not doing anything. Veru's not doing anything. We were able to get away from it, and we're net positive on Veru because we were able to get something there at 65. And then we got in and out on the dump quickly there. So we're negative on Veru because we're holding this position, but until it breaks 1250, not much to look at here for Veru. So I think I'm going to buy some more at around this 1270, get a nice little average in price, and then work on it from there. But right now, AMD, $3 in the money and ripping today's high. We did it again on AMD, man. We had a $7 winner on Friday. Right now, we're in the money $3. Let's see if we can massage this up past this 96.60.
Yeah, and that's what we like to see, right? AMD start continuing to go, Neo continuing to go. The market just bounced off of that double bottom on the ES there, and Neo took out 15s. Now, obviously I probably misplaced my stop. That's why I'm long at 15.09 because I actually manually had to get in, didn't get the trigger at 15 even, so probably gave up at least 6 or 7 cents. By that, but it just got to 15.20, which if I was long 15, I'd be taking some out in front of the quarter. So it doesn't matter whether I have 9s or 3s. If I think I should be getting it out, at least some in front of the quarter, I'm going to do that. If it starts to dip back in, I'm looking at that cluster, this 14.80 to 15. That's going to be solid for any kind of a potential dip buy for me. So I'm very willing to come back in, do the dip here on Neo. It's so super strong here, and there's so much room on this break. Like if you look at this level, which is finally getting taken out, first it was $14.50, now $15. There's room to $16 here for NIO to work. DTST, it got that second leg into the upside. We shorted off the high of the day. I'm taking some out all the way down into this 330. Like it's just the risk to reward. Put up that 10 points. Already got some out at just better than 1-to-1. See if we can't do the rest all the way down to this 330, Brendo.
Another one having a nice day here, guys. DraftKings, I just noticed, was up significantly, 4%. Anyways, just took back 13 again. Kind of choppy back and forth, but a couple of upgrades again this morning for DKNG as well.
A couple upgrades, eh? We like that. We like that. All right, there's okay, Veru. We just bought some Veru. Like, what the hell? We just bought this at 1276. It just ripped to 13. I have an offer there at 13.17, by the way. It just went to 13.10. Why 17? Just a little ahead of this 20. We'll sit around here, see if we can grab that. So right now, a nice little move back for Veru. Put us positive on the combination of the trade there because we're long at 13.03. It just went to 13.10 there. So let's see if it wants to get going. We're going to wait in the 20s, then hopefully Veru could take out some of this upside. So we just bought it back down in right there. $3 in the money. Sorry, 65 cents in the money as AMC looking to top it out here on the day as well. That's looking to break. But Apple right now, the only missed opportunity one more time. And I love Facebook, and it's going to be my #1 stock at some point today, trust me. But right now, it's the only negative stock we have. That's how much confidence I have in it. But down there to 198. Should have ignored my Facebook because, the hedge I was talking about, because Apple right now is not moving and it's flat on the short side. Facebook just took off $2 to the upside. So ignoring that 198 definitely was a huge mistake. So we'll have to watch out for that one here. I don't want to short it, but it's getting to a nice short spot as well as AMD. AMD just touched 96.60. We just said, can we get to 96.60? Well, we did. We got there, and then it faded off of that. So this is a 93 long, and that's a 96.60 right there. So, I mean, we could probably get this out at any time and really like that trade. So I'm thinking about doing that right now. Again, it's been a monster move up. If I just keep looking gift horses in the face here, then yeah, I wouldn't be able to hold it for this long. So I don't know. Let's just hold this strong name. We'll see what it does again if it comes back up to 96.60. But right now, that's really my only level of concern. And 99 problems, and guess what ain't one? AMC right now. As we go WTF, as that approaches that 1250 right now. What's up, B?
Hey guys, I have a great news. We need just 400 more likes to get to 2,000. So team, if you just joined us or forgot, I remind you, please smash that like button. Let's get that 2,000 likes as soon as possible. Back to you guys.
Yes.
Smash it, hit it, press it gently, whichever one you do. Don't look gift horses in the mouth, which, hey, the show is one, by definition, I would say. Because I'd say it's a bit of a gift, and that's what it's all about here. I took some more out of Neo because I don't want to look the gift horse in the mouth. It feels like where the market's at, if we do a bit of a dip or any kind of a dip, I want to be more aggressive in picking up some more shares. I just took some out of Intel. Now you start thinking about, okay, the longs are hitting those highs. Anything that I'm short in probably I guess the one that you're always the most concerned about is the one that can squeeze the most. That's always going to be Carvana. It's right back up at that 45 area. It just put a break. It got to 45, 40, or 30 there. If it gets back below, I'll probably reload this and just give it to the lower high at that 45.50. So that's what I'm looking for in particular on Carvana. It needs to hold below this 45.50. I think that's that line in the sand. Well, it's the new line in the sand, I should say. 45, want to take more. 45.50 is going to be that out. So we're now back below 45 even. Just jump back into some more shares. I just got some more intel out this market. Let's go. It's testing these highs. 40.25 on the ES is the big one.
Yeah, I can't believe Apple's still holding out, but we go Superman on that one. Veru goes to 17, right where your boy is sitting. And there's a nice little out. Wow, 350 now in the money on AMD. But look at that Veru reload, man. It gave us a level down there. And this is what I'm talking about. Our level was 75. We got in at 75. Our level's 50. That's a 25-cent risk, right? We just took out 45 cents right there. So that's, that's the risk to reward right there. More than 1-to-1. As now we'll wait to see if Veru takes out these tops even higher upside on that right now. There goes AMC. We talked about 1250. It just topped it right there. We're not going long on that. So it looks like we'll be perfect today. We just got to deal with Facebook. So hopefully that can come back in right now. And we're still losing on Apple. I mean, it's Apple itself is not doing anything. You know what? I'm going to take some more shares of Apple. I mean, I don't know why this isn't going down or up right now. It's just kind of barcoding, waiting for the market to make a move. So I'm going to say that move right now is going to be downside. It's above the 50 period, but again, just because Apple I know is pretty weak, let's take some more shares short if we can get it, and then watch that. AMD just flew to 97. Like I said, this has been a big trade for me here today, trying to take out that that top. I mean, we could do a little more work on this. We really did get tops of 98 bucks. We're still well away from that, so why not, man? Let's see if we can hold out for 98. We did it on Friday. Let's see if we could do it again here on AMD. This is why you got to go back to the well. And we have different, although we talk about not looking gift horses in the mouth, that's why, I hold on to some, and I know Neil does as well. You got to hold on to something. This is $97 and basically going parabolic here, straight to the. This was just 94, up to 97 now. So they're loving AMD. So am I. This market's trying to get back to Greensville. The only problem we have is Apple, and I mean, it's not much of a problem until it gets going. So I'm gonna have to look at this name one more time because. We don't want to get really screwed if the tides turn on this. So we just took another short there at 50. And I don't know, I'm almost thinking 146 might just have to be an out and maybe no more averages in, because if this really starts to rip around, then we don't want to be caught holding the bag here. And as soon as I say that, Apple tanks. And here we go again. We'll do some backflips as there down goes Apple. All we have to do is talk about it a little bit. And Apple comes back to the downside. We just got 145 flat. In the same minute, we took 145.50. So a nice little 50-cent winner there for Apple as it's starting to piece out to the downside now. So hopefully that can come back in, and then we will. It's not piecing out. We'll start to piece it out as we just did. We took some 20s, and then we didn't get flats. We got 7s there. So hopefully we can fly back into the downside now, and our next bids is 144.77. So hopefully that'll come in. It's giving us chances to reload the short again on this name. Missed opportunity with Facebook. Hopefully not here with Apple.
3 here, that DTST did make the entire 10% range from the high to support, so 380 down into 340. I'm going to hold on to some. If it breaks 340, I think it's headed to $3 to be sure. Intel just made another pop to the upside, so scalp it again. It hits that bottom. It goes up to that 43.10 range, so continuously going to be taking profit there. And then, of course, Carvana. Once again, it goes up to 45. It fails to break at 45. It pulls back in, took a buck there on the first leg. If it eventually takes out this higher low, I think that's when you get that move. At some point, if it stays this bullish, you might get a shot at that 50. Brendo?
A little Chinese company just popping up, guys. We mentioned some of the Chinese ADRs with some strength today. IQ, I mean, it's just popping up, but a huge move already, 23% for IQ, which is an online web services company with a JP Morgan upgrade today.
BlackRock is really screwing up Apple here, Brendan. You might want to get to that story if you see it. The U.S. markets could improve significantly in the summer, right here, says BlackRock's reader. So at least, I mean, there's talks about it. I'll leave it to Brendan. He'll get that to you.
Neo
So everything's popping right now. So it's squanching our Apple trade right here up to 145.50. So, sorry, 146.50. That's going to be our out. I'm not going to average into this. Obviously, that news hits. That's part of it. When you're trading big index names, you're going to have to watch out for it. That's why we hold on to some of these other plays like AMD that gives us now 97. This is now $4 in the money. But Apple's going to get killed here. Any new news about the U.S. economy improving or just the markets improving in general is going to be huge news for Apple and Apple shareholders. So this name starting to rip to the upside. No surprise there as BlackRock coming out talking positively on the market. Let me guess, they're long from Friday?
No, never, Sean.
Never.
How dare you be so cynical?
How could I ever insinuate
How could
that?
you? Brendo?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of comments here. I can show you them. Just what Sean was saying there. U.S. markets could improve significantly in the summer after the Fed's QT has begun. They also said at least 90% of this year's move in the U.S. rates already in. 10-year could hit 3.25, 3.5, kind of what Frank was talking about this morning. But we'll see if we can get above that at all, because so far it has not, guys, on that 10-year. But yeah, a little bit positive there.
Well, that last little spike, it got Neo up to 1543. Not really. It can't take out that 1550. So the dip okay, worked into the range. The break out of the range at 15 has yet to really put any kind of a test on this $16 area. It's one of the stronger ones out there, up that 7%. But we'd like to see it give the entire move as opposed to like a little piece. We would like more than just a taste of it on Neo here. Tesla, wow. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And of course, you take your stop, and this is Tesla heading back into the upside. I did like Neo better, and then I still made one trade in Tesla. Trading Neo 3 times instead of twice, and then Tesla once would have been the better way to go. But I'm not going to take. I like Tesla, and Tesla's been one of the better stocks for me this last month, so I cannot regret it. But Neo definitely bigger and stronger, at least in today's move relative to Tesla, which can't even get green despite that move that we just put on. That's worth noting. Could not get green. Back to green, I should say, on Tesla. Here comes another roll on Peloton. It's still working in the money, but when Sean made that note, anything to the short side, you got to start thinking about, right? Like, is it going to be able to hold up? We've been holding VWAP here, been able to get some out at the open. It was 1530s. Then we're getting 50s and 60s. Now we're getting 60s and 70s. All those numbers, you can tell, all the profits are going more and more shallow off that 16 area on Peloton. So some of these are looking relatively bullish here. I'd put CVNA in that category. That GFF Brennan brought to us, wowzers. Yeah, that one still made another move to the upside. They're exploring strategic alternatives. Usually that means they're trying to get picked up. $30 is for now the line in the sand on that daily chart. You can kind of see here. It's been a double top off this 29.5. It's through that 30. That's trying to hold its support. But I see a wick off top through 30. And if I see a wick off top, then that means short the top usually. Always willing to take the hit, but risk to reward, it says shorted for me.
I feel like we had something similar to this last week. Baked chicken and mushroom penne.
We have chicken every day.
Yeah, baked chicken and mushroom penne in a rosé sauce.
Yeah, but we get the now
no,
that I'm on the
good.
salad, it's like,
just
I kind of
doing
feel like I don't want to know what the lunch is till we see it, because I know what we're getting.
All right, we did get a little bit out there. It looks like this is going to rip and break, so no doubt about that. We did get something out at 146 flat there on Apple. We'll see if it comes out, but we are going to go 146.50 break. So if that breaks on Apple, obviously we're stuck in this position. I love Apple short, but into this trade, there's not much we can do. With something's changed, right? I mean, now they're talking positive about the market, which is why you always dollar cost average. Neo's the number 2 name on my list here today, SoFi and Neo, and we are bidding 14.25. The low of the day off the open, and I should have noticed because what really is the difference? It went to 14.27 or so right down there. So missed that opportunity, but I know Neil has it, a nice breakthrough 15 there. That's a good one. Obviously taking out the day's high at 15 was also a great trade. But right now, we're over there for small cap recap, and it's DTST time. Let's see what Brennan has to say about it.
Hey guys, yeah, quiet morning so far for small caps. Really not a lot of action. DTST, we were talking about this range on the daily chart. Top end of that was that 375 to 380 kind of range. I mean, we're stuck in the 25-cent range. So Not really tradable at this point. 350, 375, 380 at the top. Take what you can get in between because it looks like it's dying off already as far as volume is concerned. Same story for AGRI. I could not find a way to get into this. Same thing, just consolidating here. Breaks above, you probably get a long. Breaks below, it retests pre-market levels. Rivian gave you all kinds of opportunities this morning off 27. This resistance area from midday and late in the afternoon was 27. Just working off that this morning, Rivian to the downside. But again, another one kind of back in the range, guys. Back over to you.
Yeah, Rivian's another one, right? Like it broke that support level. We liked it. We didn't take it. We'll at least do this. And in honor of Luka, wow, Doncic is just unbelievable. But in his honor, we'll try to hit some swishes here. But I keep talking about this Peloton because look at this. If you're into drawing trend lines, just on the 3-minute here, just for this morning, you're seeing it pretty clean. It's starting to form a bit of a wedge, and I've adjusted my stops. I guess I don't need the second stop there. Adjusted my stops here to tighten things up a little bit as that continues to be strong. The gift that keeps on giving, and at some point it's going to stop, is going to be this Intel off of 43. Like obviously this price area has been absolute gold, but it's going to give it up. Like it was short to long. It is not breaking back toward those highs. You already saw AMD and AMD and NVIDIA looking much stronger than this. So some relative weakness obviously in Intel. When growth goes, it lags, and vice versa. You're going to get both ends of that coin. So you're not getting the super strong move that you were getting off this last week because you're seeing some relative weakness. I did jump into that GFF, but if you can't figure out where the stop is going to be, then you haven't been watching this program. If it takes out the high of the day, I'm gone. So I got a 72 short. The idea was about 75s and give it to the high of the day. Play it back into 29 even or VWAP. But GFF has been super strong. Anytime you're hunting for a deal, if you're trading to the short side, you better have a stop in because at any point there could be a news update. And there's no way I'm going to get caught in a news update because if it spikes up through the high of the day, I'm out regardless of the reason.
All right, we literally got stopped again. Like we got stopped short on we got stopped out. And thanks to Justin, by the way, he picked up some coffee from Timmy's there. And Tim is not our favorite, but thanks for doing that anyways.
Brendo?
Tilray doing things, guys. Just testing $5 here on a huge volume spike. Not seeing anything on the cannabis space yet, but big move for Tilray.
Sorry, So Sundial report, was Sundial this morning or is it after market? Or you guys tell me, because usually, like Sundial's not my thing, but I know I trade it every single time it moves, and I know it's moving right now, doing some decent volume, but I'm like 99.999% sure they report this week, and certainly it's either today or tomorrow. It's one or the other. It's back to this 45. Oh, it's through 45 even, breaking higher. If it gets to 50, that's going to be an interesting one to be sure. I'm more interested in this AGRI because that's the one that we're looking at earlier in the session. Oh, give me a break. So, of course, I jump over to GFF and trade that DTST, and then AGRI pops right to 250 again and puts the fade on. So that would have been a better trade. But that's why you look at the levels. Hopefully somebody shorted this. At some point, I hope somebody shorted this at 45 off 250, because that's essentially been giving it to over and now over again. Kind of frustrating that I haven't had it even once. NEO is starting to pull back. Obviously, the break was good. I should say it's still good. But it got to 1550 and couldn't go any further. The question becomes, can it now hold that breakout price? It's more 95 than 15 even, but 15 is a good psychological number anyways. I'm not making a decision until we get to that 15. If it breaks 95, we can take out the breakout trade and start looking for the dip buy again.
Yeah, no, I don't have Unity here. Okay, guys, Veru. That was Veru easy right there as, yeah, we just went long down there at 1270. It goes right back to day's high again. So we're now in the money $1 on Veru there. So that's going to be a good trade for us, a VERU. And yeah, we're going to have to, I know Lucas built this system, but it's not working, right? Like, I don't know, my earpiece.
No, mine's working.
Every time
I think I know what.
No, I know why. It's because it disconnects.
But I'm still on the, I put mine back to the iPad.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm working today.
So
I can't make mine work on the thing either.
Yeah,
but
so that's why it's working. Okay, so, yeah, Neil, you're just going to have to call it to Neil.
I got it.
For Brendo, so I apologize for that last throw. Okay, so right now, we did get back into Apple. Just thinking if, again, like we made the top wick there on Apple, almost anyways. I mean, we missed it by 3 cents. So we're just going to play off that wick one more time. We did average back into the short. We didn't get out of everything, so it wasn't a complete disaster. But again, losing on that sucks because now it's come back in, but you got to have your plan. We're still up on the day and nothing, no reason to cry here over that trade. My real messed up trade, of course, was this one. There was a reload that even came back down here. I believed in the short too much, so I didn't take it. Now you're starting to come back in. Hopefully the market sort of absorbs BlackRock's comments there and then says, you know what, let's just go back down into the downside. That'd be great for me here.
That?
Apple, I'm waiting to get a piece out at 90, I believe. 91s. It just went to 93s. Like, I cannot make this stuff up here. Hopefully Apple can come back down. I'm trying to just take 20 cents, man. Like, the risk is going to be about 40 to the upside on this trade. So if we could take literally 10% out there for 20 cents, we'd do that. It just went down to us, stopped, and then ripped back up. So in the meantime, though, AMD still at days high and still rocking. I really feel like, I don't know, did you ever get into NVIDIA? Because the way AMD is moving, like, I think I just got to get over to NVIDIA. NVIDIA is still red on the day and not really doing anything. Meanwhile, AMD is like, I mean, I've told you guys AMD is the name that I want to be in on any kind of a downside move, up 2.5% versus NVIDIA flat today. So yeah, definitely something's broken with a lot of these names, but not with Advanced Micro Devices. That name just keeps on working. So, if you want to look for a long, maybe a 177.50 or so break there on NVIDIA. But until then, I feel like, you're middling with this name. Better to focus on the stronger one with AMD, and I know you're on Intel as well, so definitely we're covering some semis here, but
it's still relatively weak too.
Yeah, my main concern is with Apple.
Yeah, like Intel, Intel's working because I'm buying it off support, not because it's relatively strong. AMD, and I know it has a lot of retail interest in it as well, and that keeps it relatively strong. At some point, you think that evens out. Been asked a couple of times about Costco here, and remember, you're getting a ton of retail earnings this week, so I think these levels might not be that valid as these start to drop. But if you're not looking at 500 on Costco, like, it's a pretty big level. At least it has been the last couple of sessions here. And that's the only thing I'm concerned with right now on Costco. Other than that, you're looking, I don't necessarily low that I love the 480 bottom. I think you're more concerned with the January low of the year at 470. It's 500, and then it's a 200 period moving average, which we're just below at about 510. So those are significant levels for me. It's 470, 500, and then the 200 period moving average. I think there's no chance that with this, you're testing at least all three of those levels probably this week with all the retail earnings that we have to come in. But I don't see any trade particularly today on Costco, but was just asked about that one there. Still in that GFF and still looking pretty strong, this name. It hasn't broken the top. That's about the only good thing I'll say of it, but it's now put in a double top. I'm short here kind of in the middle of that range. If I stop out, I don't know that I want to hunt that back at this one again. And that DTST, yeah, it looks like it's trying to go one more time. Remember, the float on this is like 4 million shares. So if it doesn't break 330 and at least test 3 even, this is probably good for another late run. It's a scalp trade down from 380 down into that 340 level. But if it breaks out from here with a 4 million float, like, remember what this thing can still do if it gets through that high of the day at 380. Like, there is room. Forget about $4. We're talking about 460. We're talking about 5 even. So this has late day runners still on the docket, even if the short has worked for now.
Yeah, you know what, guys? Let's just make a pact here that we'll hold our AMD tomorrow. Like, regardless of whatever way I'm thinking on AMD, I'm just going to hold it. Whether or not it's long, whether or not it's short, whether or not it's... I'd rather hold the long. I mean, you see what's happening right here. AMD is now $5 in the money off that bottom. We waited for it, and we waited pretty good, man. We waited till 35, so we gave the market 5 minutes. But by the way, I mean, I need to address this right here because Apple is starting to rip, and I got to take some out because we've averaged it again, and we're almost overloaded on this name now. And it's not working. It's Apple's changed directions on us. So again, we're flat on the trade. We're short at 146.25. Well, now we're not. We're out 10 cents or 20 cents. But we're in this name at 146.23. So it's not great. We've had to average into this. We just missed that dip. It's going to look like I should have got it at 90, but I'm at 90, so I didn't. So it only went to 91 there. But now I'm going to have to start to get some out. We have too many shares now. If it takes out 146.75, I just want to get out just using the 75. I'm not going to hold this to 147.40. If, again, you know, the market today has sort of started to change there. We got BlackRock's opinion when it was down here. We were really cruising for the NASDAQ to make moves down. We were really loving this short. But then all of a sudden, man, bang, everything changed a little. So let's see now what the NASDAQ wants to do. If it comes back to the 50 period, great. We'll start to cash in on some of this Apple. But there it goes. We just took a piece out. But for right now, this name is a little bit in trouble. Guys, by the way, look at Veru right now as we'll dap it up. 14. I just heard Prad say, wow. Prad, you know where we're long? 1270. As this is starting to go now, $2 in the money on Veru. This name is ripping. We have this one for you. We stuck it out. We found out that bottom. We like Veru. We like it a lot. But don't forget about that level. I believe it was 15. Yeah, we've already got up here once. So you got to watch out for some of these levels, man. Maybe 1550. We just offer Veru and get out of there. But I got bigger fish to fry, and that's name starts with A and ends with a PL. So we're going to watch out for Apple right now.
Brendo?
Another one moving here, guys. Affirm just took out the high from Friday. If you remember, big move, gapped up. In fact, this high from pre-market, I guess it was over here, on decent volume. So a nice day for Affirm. There's also this one, ZNTL. Crazy. It's actually relatively small on the market cap, even though it's 26 bucks. They appointed a new board member, so up on that. But small float on that one, so be careful. 10:30, 1 hour left over in the European session on a Monday. Miss V, what's up?
Hey, Brandon, European markets are mixed. Retailer Casino trading in Paris up more than 4% as it launched a process to sell its renewable energy unit, Green Yellow.
Yeah, overall pretty choppy for North America as well, guys. Still struggling for the S&P at that 40-20 area.
Thank you there, Brendan. And yeah, always willing to look across the pond. I'm now in Veru for the first time. If you remember back on Friday, that 15 level, I shorted that one when it got there in the morning, and it did fall all the way back into 1250. So, and then if you go all the way back to like the 26th, back over into April, it also made a wick top at 15 even that we're involved in. That day we're in the long side of the trade, and I missed the short. You know, today I missed the long and I'm in the short because I was in the short on Friday. If it takes out, I'll say 1460 about. If we take that out, I'm going to regroup and get out of it and get back in when it tests that 15 even. So if it puts in a lower high, which a lot of times it will on a second or third type of move, then this one will work now. Otherwise, you regroup and wait till that 15 as a very, very significant level for Veru. I'm not calling it VERU. That's just ridiculous, Neil. Coming back over to one name that I don't want to ignore it, especially after what Sean mentioned with the overall market making moves and Apple sort of following suit. Still relatively weak over here in Microsoft, and I did not fade this trade when it got to 259, and that's looking like a colossal mistake. Pre-market lows, 259, that was another test there. If I get a shot at 259 and the market isn't absolutely screaming, then I should be trying to short Microsoft. It's just, you can like the company all you want, but ever since it made that break of 270, it's been so relatively weak compared to the market. And when it hits a resistance level, it should be in that bucket of names that we like to the short side. Like I said, just got into Veru, so that's the next thing of concern. We'll see if that one pulls back. First target's going to be 14s, then 1375, then 1350.
Look, when you're El Fuego, like we are here, sometimes you got to have a little bit of faith in what you're doing, and I should have a little bit more, but we're going to spin it anyways right now, as Apple is now 80 cents in the money and tanking right now back down in. So again, you know, we got wicked out, man. We didn't get wicked out. It took out our 146.50. That's what we wanted to happen for us to get out. That is what happened. But then, you know what? Forget about it, man. It was still pretty weak. We shorted Apple again, and now we are 90 cents in the money on a tank city here for Apple back down in. So we're almost at the highest spot we've been at. We're not quite. We had such a great morning there, and then Apple took us down, so we need to make this back, and then we'll be back to our highest spot. Also, Facebook screwed us a little bit there on that move. So we're going to wait for 202 to come back in. Veru, Neil's in it, I'm in it, so we don't have to talk too much about that one. ARK is down 3%. Let's go over to SoFi. We had SoFi as the number one name on our sticky note again. Thanks to Bears vs. Bulls Media again for coming through and helping us with the moderation of the channel. So thank you so much for that. You can also find my sticky note. He's been tweeting that out a bit, as has Ms. V. SoFi today, I mean, honestly, guys, unfortunately, It's barcoding and doing absolutely nothing. We missed that. We were at 680. I mean, this seems to be the story of my life, but that's fine. We missed that trade down there at 680, and it's fine. I mean, I said if levels come in, we'll take them. If not, fine. So 687 only goes SoFi right now. So still, a nice little move down here. If we can get longer, we're looking at 670. I canceled that 680. I want to take that down and come back into 670 for us there. So that's a trade that I'm looking at. $4 in the money on AMD, 80 cents in the money on AMC, 80 cents in the money on Apple, and $1.40 in the money on Veru today. So right now we're holding all 4 winners and looking to do some more damage, man. Roblox, we talked about that earlier, looking to try to pick something up on the downside if it ever went back in. Roblox today up 8% and just took out 36, bouncing off the 50 period. So there's going to be lots of trades here. It's only 10:40. We got to find some more names. Look at XLE today. You know, we've just been buying XLE hand over fist. Last time was around that $77 mark, up to $82.50. Okay, Apple now testing back down into the 50s. So, you know, I'm getting excited about this one. This is my largest position. It's bouncing off VWAP a little bit here as well. So, hey, if the NASDAQ can hold below on the 50 period, I like our chances to see Apple a little bit lower. But 70 cents in the money. Let's take one more piece out here on Apple, and then hopefully we can hold the rest back down for a low. But the market's trying to battle here, and this Apple, we've already sort of done well on the reload short.
Yeah, just got another reload there. Well, not a reload, but another short off the top on Veru as it came back in. First target at 14, like we said. Getting a stick in front of those 80s, in front of those 50s and 60s as well if it comes back in. VWAP's a ways away here, so that's not necessarily the first target that I'm going to go to because it's just, you know, you've gotten away because it went so parabolic. So that's no longer a target. This DTST, look at it still hold this 330. The longer it does this, the more it's going to set up for a potential break. Still holding a piece of the short for the home run because I think it can maybe go pull back another 10% from that support at 330 down into $3. Definitely going to be in play for us. But if barcodes right now. Dominic, thank you for the super chat. I'll bite. AWH, I haven't looked at it, but if you give a super chat for a name, we don't mind looking at it. And I'm not opposed to trading penny stocks, although this one is on the NASDAQ when I typed in New York because it had 3 letters. And now my daily doesn't want to load here, so I'll go to the 15. It is going parabolic, but the only thing that when I see something like this and it's already made its break, I want to look for the next level of resistance. That would have stood at 75 cents, but now you're getting another break to the upside, which puts $1 into play. However, it kind of has a chance to fail breakup here. It doesn't get through 80 cents, then you have another chance at a lower high short off of that 80 level. But I want to see this thing settle down a bit. Its volume is okay. It's not great. 3 million shares for a 70-cent stock is okay. But you'd rather see something like this doing 30 million shares. Far more interesting when a penny stock is doing that kind of volume. But we want to make sure we're not looking gift horses in the mouth. And I said Intel was still relatively weak, and I just looked a little bit of a gift horse in the mouth. It looked like, for all intents and purposes, after Sean came with that BlackRock note, it's like, oh yeah, Intel should maybe bounce up a little bit more on that. Of course, it's now pulling back into VWAP. If it gets back up to the 43.25, I'll go back to having to take a few more shares out for the smaller wins here. Still solid off that 43 level, relatively speaking, but you know, we didn't get much follow through on that last little bump from a little BlackRock there. We couldn't still get through 40.25 on the ES. It continues to be a little bit of a line in the sand for the ES, and as long as that's the case on your longs, you want to be taking profit when we approach it.
Thank you so much, guys, for yeah, you're right, Frank Molina there. AMD is ripping, and that's just been a great trade for us all day. We just got to try to hold it. I'm looking to get longer, you know, if we come into any of these levels, like 96, 95. Like, I want to retest this as VWAP is the blue, and then the 50-period moving average is the pink. The problem is, as the market comes down, I now have 4 times the shares. Thank you for 2,000. Wow, that happened pretty quickly. Thank you guys for the 2,000 likes for sure. Are we at 300K yet? We're probably pretty damn close to 300,000 subscribers. If you guys can hit that button as well. We were like Brendan will have the total in a minute, but we were like 1,700 away or something as of Friday. But I don't think over the weekend we don't get too many viewers on that one. Yeah, Shopify red, right? Wasn't it?
It just hit SSR.
Yeah,
it's down
10%. Yeah, Shopify's a shit show. I wouldn't really worry too much about that one.
I know what happened.
Yeah, that one's been gone for a while. Yeah, it bounced back though nicely. We talked about their CEO picking up $10 million worth, not 10 million shares of that would be a big purchase of Shopify there last week. So as that one goes, there goes the market as well. And then here goes Apple. Apple now $1 in the money. So we've made back absolutely everything off that. However, we're looking to make more. So hopefully Apple can retest that 145 area right here. We're sitting there to do that if it does come through. So that's the play I'm looking at. And I do want to get long into Facebook as we're back down to 199. It's just, I'm so like jaded right now because like I want to, I mean, this Facebook is probably worth it down here at that 199 level. So yeah, let's take a few shares of Facebook. Again, it's because I'm short Apple. I don't really want to get long Facebook. Like I'm already long AMD. And if you're going to trade, and I know Neil's just trading Intel differently than I'm trading AMD, but if you really want those rips, man, like AMD is a stock that you're gonna have to watch for every single day. Intel more obviously as a scalping stock, and then Nvidia not really moving at all. So yeah, I don't know. These are tricky. Facebook coming into 199. I am gonna buy some down here, 199.30 or so, just a small bit to see if we hold that 199. Just because, that's all. I mean, that's my logic, just because. I like Facebook. It's been super strong today through these levels. Let's just see if it holds. I'll try not to let my Apple long influence this trade, but at the same, yeah, you know what? Nah, I'm not going to do it. So I'm just talking myself out of it. Sometimes you got to stick with your gut, and my gut's telling me right now that this market's going to fall down here. And so we don't want that. We're going to hold on to our Apple, and we should probably be getting out of our AMD as it's starting to break lower now.
Yeah, I mean, I've really only had like Intel and Neo to the long side, and everything else has sort of been the shorts. Neo I'm about to give up because it's failing to hold VWAP. It might go back into the dip to that 14, 30, 14 quarter area. It's a big pocket, but I'm now enamored a little bit with Shopify because if you look at where we closed, like we closed right at 402 on Friday, but in the previous day you had this 350, which was a huge line in the sand, and we're about to take a shot at bouncing off 350. I'm watching it here in the New York. Of course, it also trades in Toronto, but that's obviously I'm going to watch it here in New York because most of you guys are watching us from the U.S. Brendo?
Just noticed Twilio, guys, relatively weak here today, down 6%. Just bouncing off that initial low, though, at 103 from this morning. There was a negative Baird note on Twilio today.
There's 300,000 shares here on AMD offer. So if you want to have some share size battles here, there is a big one. Watch as it comes up. There it is right there. It's at 80. So you can see big size there. I'm not trading off size. It's going to blow right through it anyways. But there it is right there if you are interested. There's a big size right there. 300,000 shares on AMD, and see how fast that was gone? This is what I'm saying why I don't really look at share size too much anymore, because A, they can get pulled right away, and B, 300,000 shares into 41 million is absolutely nothing. So there it is, man. That should have been a good long take. But we'll see. There is some pressure sell side as we just took that out on AMD. So watch out there. 300,000 offered at 96.80. I'm pretty sure it got filled. I don't know. I mean, every single candle here on the 1 minute is like 800,000 shares. So I don't know. Maybe it got pulled. I'm not sure on what just happened there, but 800,000 shares, or sorry, 300,000 was there at 80, so something to look out for. But Veru, AMC, and now goes Apple. Yes, come on. We're bidding 145.07 here on Apple, so let's see if it go. How low did it go there? It went to 12. Okay, so I don't feel so bad. I'm going to switch that now to 13 because honestly, I can't take it if I get missed by a penny again. So here we come. Back down in 145. I'm at 07. Can we get it before we go to Brendan? I just saw 9. Can we get 07s this time? Maybe not. But yeah, we won't be throwing anything. But hey, I think I should take a little piece out here. 10s. Ooh, it just got to 10. You can't go down 3 more pennies. It's Brendan, if we're ready, at the big screen. Is this called Sector Watch? It is. Sector Watch. What's up?
Usually.
Hey guys, yeah, quick look at the S&P. We're quickly running out of green on this board. It was actually a lot more when we started. That's the energy sector leading the way right now as far as positivity is concerned. The entire group there to the upside, oil up about 1% on the day. CF Industries, there was a note on an investor today adding to a position that lifted that in the pre-market. But some of the resource names as well in the materials sector back to the upside. Mosaic leading. NUE and VMC, though, unusually to the downside, so kind of offsetting. But I wanted to mention there's Twitter, 4.8% in negative territory. Netflix, EA, and WBD, that Warner Brothers spinoff, helping to offset that. Industrials, some strength in here. These are the airlines all showing a little bit of strength to the upside. UAL, AAL, Love is in there as well. Deere as well on a positive note to the upside, 3.5%. Everything else, though, red. Tech stocks leading to the downside. Consumer discretionary stocks also all in negative territory. Ford, 2.6. GM, 2.8. Tesla is in the 1% range, but still a little bit of a negative weight on the overall market. Choppy day overall. Now 0.5%, guys, in the red for the S&P.
Apple?
Someone just asked what was the small cap I was looking at. I don't know, AWH, it could have been the super chat from Dominic. I'm not sure. Like, we talk about so many different names. I said it could be DTST. If it's at AWH, that was a penny stock from that we got from Dom. We just took out 4,000 again to the downside. So like, the market's starting to come back in here, which means the shorts, of course, are working back into the money. So time to start taking profit on them.
I don't know. It might not. I mean, probably. I've been doing that on Apple for sure. I mean, obviously, we wish we would have had. Again, like we talked about that. That's my problem. Getting out too early. But there it is. Apple all the way to the downside. Obviously, we respected that 50 period a little too much. Getting a lot of these 146.50s out around 146. Then it came down to VWAP. We took some more out at 145.50. Now we're in the money $1.50 on this Apple short. So, I mean, you guys say, did we ever lose? Yeah, one time right there we lost on Apple. And it's just been shorts and cover, average in, get hit for sure. Now bring Apple back down. Trying to trade this one back into the money here. Apple now down $1.50 and still making moves. And by the way, Veru just at day's high again.
It just failed the high.
Yeah. So your boy's killing this right now as we go, yeah, buddy, on Veru. We're still holding this 1270, but there it is. I was actually waiting at 1490 just ahead of 15 because we do have some of that 15 area there on Veru that we've already talked about this level right into there from I don't know how far this goes back. This goes back to the 25th of April, it looks like, where we hit that 15 level. So right into there. So late April, we do have those highs right there as well at 1370. So that's an area of concern if it comes back in. But we just saw 1470. So, hey, let's just get out of Veru if we can at 1470. I mean, now it's falling back down. So again, like you got to sometimes hold, sometimes get out. We're waiting at 1490, a little too shallow. So 1450 for Veru to end this one, man. And we'll see if we can get it out 1450 or 1470 or so on VERU. I mean, still some upside on that play. So I don't know, debating holding on, but that's just some levels to look at there, 1450 to 1460 on VERU.
And it was AWH, the one from Dominic. That just put in a triple top at 80 cents. So I'm going to short it in front of 80 cents. Wanted to see it stabilize down there, or up there, I guess is a better way to put it. Softy, by the way. Yeah, still looking for it to come back to 259, but it's at least holding VWAP. I feel like if we break VWAP here, yeah, we're probably retesting that 3980 on the ES, or maybe you're talking about in the NASDAQ, that 12.2 to that downside. So, Softy is one of the barometers I'm looking for the overall market. I'm still not to the point where I'm shorting Intel because it's still holding 4280. As long as support holds, fair enough. We scalped Veru once. It took out the high there and then failed the high right away. So wick top through there, just jump right back into the trade. As long as it's valid, I'm going to make sure that we're in it to the upside. That AWH is now attempting to take out that high. We had to, by the way, this was free to short, so just keep that in mind. It could be a little bit of a crowded trade. If it puts in a wick top and gets back under, then I definitely want to roll back into more shares, but it's starting to look at least a little bit strong. If you do watch up here, though, it's got the 50 period looming and a big 85 level. So it has a pretty decent shot to reverse at 85, and if it does do that, then I want to jam into some more shares. But the daily chart's what wouldn't load before. Wanted to make sure that I showed you guys that you had this 85 previous floor.
Okay. Looks like, again, like holding out for Facebook seems to be always the wrong call because that was 199 again. and it ripped back up to 190 or almost 200. It did go to 200 there. So, you know, this sort of proxy short long that I have here with Apple and Facebook trying to battle these two names. Apple's now $1.50 in the money, but it's still $1.50. I mean, what am I saying now? We'll get out of one more piece if it takes down this 145.20. Other than that, I really want to try to hold this name as much as we can. So I'm going to put a 145, 26 or so to get out. If it does break higher, we'll get out of a third of what we have left. But we're still holding on, man. We're trying to do as best as we can on this Apple short. We really like it. NVIDIA, like, unbelievable that we picked the right one again with AMD, but just keep going back to the well. I don't know if my trade's there from Friday. It is not, but we hit this early on Friday, almost the exact same time, 9:35 there on Friday we had it, and then we had it again here from today, 9:35, that long. We took the best out was $2, but now we're $3.50 in the money. Okay, here comes Apple downside now. So I don't have any bids for Apple as I look, so I'm not sure where this is going to go, but as I look at this minute chart, there's a lot of room to the bottom. We like that 145.50 break. Obviously, these are all shorts to the upside. If we call a 20-minute chart open here, I mean, it still doesn't look that great. Like, I mean, that is low. That's 144.20. We could get to that. I mean, so that's an area for me maybe to put a bid on. That goes back to Friday. So what is that? Yeah, literally right there is a good one. Yeah, 144.25. So let's put a bid at 144 and 144.30, something like that. If we're able to get anything on Apple, we'll do that. 144.30 just to take that. And here it comes to the downside. We've been shorting Apple ever since up here. I can't remember the last time we put a long note on the sticky note for Apple, but here it is again for the short side, and here we come back in. So, I guess I just could have looked at the minute chart. That bottom today is 144.30. So, yeah, if we get back down to the bottom of this market, then we'll sit here and hold it. So, hey, hopefully Apple can come back in and fill us, and hopefully it happens in the next 7-8 minutes. We're going to have earnings, I believe. I'm not sure if there are too many, but there should be.
This week
is retail, yeah. So hopefully.
I don't know about tonight.
We'll have that. But Monday there should be. Monday night, Tuesday morning. Is there, Valeria?
Well, I saw
earnings?
people talk about.
Yeah, there's earnings. Yeah, they have
I'm
earnings.
just curious about Sundial because I saw someone in the chat put Sundial and earnings, but I didn't catch the date, and I am at least a little bit interested. RDBX, yeah, I mean, that one looks like it's trying to make another run through the high of the day. I mean, everyone remembers this from Load Up. Last week, it just broke $3 to the upside, so it looks like it's trying to make another churn. It's also, if you remember this, when it got to 6, it was insane. That deal, it's weird, but like the cash value of the cash and stock deal was like less than $1, but either way, it's catching a bit of a bid here. If it gets through 3, just remember it had a hard time getting through 330, certainly Thursday and Friday, and $6 was an absolute gift, and I'm kicking myself for not reading the press release when I didn't hold on to that one a little bit longer. AWH failed twice at 85. It might take a third attempt at it. If it does a third time, doesn't get through 85, I'll probably reload just a little bit. But RDBX, it feels like a little bit of a trap. I might have to read that release again because I'm a little confused as to why it just sits here trading in the middle of the range when the actual fair value of the deal, when I checked, or at least I thought it was less than $1.
Yikes.
I'd be very cautious trading this one, but I probably need to read the press release at least one more time.
Okay, yeah, we'll figure that out. SNDL is tonight, so thank you for all that, guys, as well. Yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday, yeah, there's lots of earnings to come through this week as we get excited for that. And you're watching the right show, man. I mean, we're going to trade most of the earnings names. I mean, I was even in Carvana today. I know that's not an earnings name, but, look at the breadth that we have today. Like, I'm still long Veru. We've traded that pretty well today. One of my top stocks there on just on a percentage basis there. Veru, a nice little trade. I don't use as many shares on Veru even as I do on Apple. Like, I'm just so much more confident with that. AMD's been a big trade for us today. So look, Apple, big cap, right? AMD, big cap. AMC, Ape Nation, we really hit that. We got the bottom tick of the day on AMC. Carvana, you want to talk, wow, are you still short this name? That name was, I know you were short, I was long. I think we both got out of the way there. Yeah, you're out of there. As Carvana taking down 40 right now.
I'm determined not to get run over on that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. So we didn't get.
Come on! Oh my God! I know what happened.
That's what I was saying to you.
Oh no! I'm an
anyways.
Idiot. Oh, I know what happened. No, what essentially happened is I took profit in front of VWAP.
Yep.
And I had a secondary bid 10 cents lower that I didn't cancel, so I left it in. And
you would see it if you had.
I got it all out, but I'm like, why am I not in it? Because when you said that, I'm like, oh, it must have taken out the top. That's why I'm not in anymore.
No, it didn't.
I blame AWH, Dominic.
Okay, AWH for Dom there. And then another major cap tech name was Facebook as well, as that came back in on that one. So that was a good name. Veru still going, Carvana. Anyways, you see all the trades I was talking about there. Are we supposed to throw it to Brendan? I see Fahad losing his mind over there. All right, Brendan, what's up?
Let's talk about some earnings. I want to mention first, though, guys, Bitcoin back to day lows, essentially. We got down to about 29.5. Once again on Bitcoin. My platform kind of let me down today, so currency-wise, not going to be able to happen. But Coinbase, I saw, down 10% almost, 9.3 right now, right at day lows as Bitcoin ticks lower once again. So a few things to look at still on the crypto front. Yes, let's get into what is to come tonight and tomorrow morning for earnings, guys.
All right,
so you guys, we confirm that Sundial's on there, bro. Yep. I get it. We don't put it on the board because it's not good enough for the board. Look, obviously,
it's not good enough for the board.
I know.
Should be on there.
It should be on there.
That's
Walmart
okay.
and Home Depot.
The big guys are there.
Yeah, the big boys. It's a retail week, and I think obviously with Lowe's coming, you get Macy's later on this week. I don't actually know what day, but Macy's is always going to be interesting because of its short interest. Take-Two. I don't know, maybe yes, maybe no, but I think it's more about that retail. Going to be big for the market in general.
Yeah.
Those retail earnings, because it's that R word, man. Like, can they pass along? Are these guys able to pass along costs as you getting inflation running sort of rampant here? But the real story I think is going to be how strong is the consumer. Consumer stays strong, we can maybe sustain this bounce. If they can't, then obviously not going to be good. There is, oh my goodness, my mouth is literally watering looking at that board to see what a national day it is here today, Sean.
Yeah, we were.
And I'm guessing. Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah, we were throwing down a lot of that. Even yesterday, my kid Baxter was making smash burgers. So that was really fun.
Legit, so legit.
Yeah, where's my barbecue thing? Because we're going to go to National Day this year. But before we do that, just because we just talked about Coinbase there, you can see what's just happening right now. Bitcoin broke through 30 and Ethereum's dancing at 2. So 2K right now for Ethereum, that's on the bid as it's only at 2011. You can see over the last 24 hours, it's been a sort of a flattish, but most of these names down 2+% here. But just want to give that an update, 29.6. As some of the easiest trades on the board has been a Coinbase fade. So I just looked at that as well. I didn't even realize Coinbase was at anywhere near 70, or that would have been like a mouth-watering short. And I steal that from Neil because he talked about it with the National Day. Let's go over to Ms. V.
Quickly, guys, I'll jump in here. The SEC Gensler saying that SEC and CFTC are working together on a deal to jointly police some tokens, were the exact words. So again, the SEC and CFTC working on a deal to jointly police some tokens. So a heads up. Now, Ms. V has what day it is.
Thank you, Brandon, and hey guys, I hope you're having a wonderful morning so far. Thank you so much for getting us more than 2,000 likes, for all the super chats and support. You guys are the best, and please join Prad and me right after to continue trading. Happy National Barbecue Day, everyone.
Yes, sir. And
there it is.
I mean, obviously you're not going to do it in hail, but this weekend was fantastic barbecue weather because it was just absolutely gorgeous. We had some ribs, but we didn't do anything yesterday. It was supposed to be thunderstorms yesterday, and I guess.
Yeah, and then now they're today. It's raining today as I
Yeah.
check the window. Oh yeah, rain coming through right now.
There used to be a window there.
Yeah, I know. Damn it, they put us in the cave right now. We just took another piece out, so we'll just go diamond hands for Apple at least there. That is a $2 winner. We just took some out right there at 145.50. And just it's bounced, sorry, I mean the price was 57 off this 40, so I guess 90 cents in the money there, sorry. We took it as it's just bouncing off the bottom there. So now I've canceled everything and we'll see if it continues to fall down. I do want to get longer in AMD as that's coming back in, so we're going to have to watch and try to respect some of those levels. So pay attention. I'll probably be putting something in the chat on the market on the midday show. And that's about to go parabolic because they're about to sit beside us here. And then we'll have some great views for them as well. Yeah, coming pretty fast there. So hopefully that'll be happening this week as far as we know. But things could change.
Well, I see a PC over there. Mark's hard at work. So I feel like we're going to be on schedule for that. Stay on target. Sure. But this market, let's see if we can bounce off 39.8. The ES has been holding up at least twice early on this week. And Do not forget, like we have 3 shows throughout the day. When you want to come back at that 2 o'clock, it's been wild. Like the afternoons have been pretty spicy. I think we get outside of this range by the end of lunchtime. But for now, we're going to send you on over to Trader Pratt and Miss V. Go get them, market movers.
To a brand new week, it's time for the best show on the internet, Market Movers with Trader Pratt and the beautiful Miss V.
Thank you, Brad. Hey, guys, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Thank you so much for joining us today. As usual, be active on the chat, ask us anything, and please give us your like. Brad, how's your morning going?
Not bad at all. You know, just taking opportunities wherever I could find. Currently,
Awesome.